to launch this New Year's training platform, as we are going to do monthly to teach people the commercial real estate industry, from the product type specialists to the different services to the different technology and ways that you can plug in to learn. Because as we all know, this market is changing. It is getting difficult because of interest rates hikes and the high interest rates, and property still at these high prices that haven't really adjusted yet. So with this, what we're trying to do is teach and educate people what product types are out there, which one may be better for you, or where you can pivot from the transactions, which we know are interest rate sensitive, to the leasing products, where there are a lot of leases. We see in the office building, there are many different office leases not being renewed, and so many subleases popping up. These are very interesting as we watch changes in the market. Also, what we're seeing is business brokerage. As we know, this is the largest transfer of wealth happening. So many of these business brokerage, which people are running their own businesses, are changing also. So to learn different businesses, to tap in to different product types, specialties, ways that you can speak to your clients with this information to help educate them, it really does help a tremendous amount. And we look forward to, one, making everyone treats your business like a job and doing it every day consistently, using this time to constantly educate and network with others within the field so you can find that opportunity. As we all know, the market is a cycle. Many of us that have been through the 2007, 2009 cycle have created opportunities. Many of the businesses were created during these times. eXp was created when Glenn Sanford saw the idea of, do we need brick and mortar, right? Ideas, innovation comes from times of stress and change. So it is important that you're constantly networking, communicating, being a part of that educational process, and really collaborating and networking with others to find these opportunities in the industry so you can really change and adjust your business. So next, I would like to introduce our Chief Growth Officer and my brother, Michael Valdez. I've known Michael for a long time. It is so exciting that Michael is running eXp globally, commercial, luxury retail. This man does it all. So it's so exciting to have him lead the helm of our growth globally. So Michael Valdez. I believe we're having a little technical difficulties, but just hold on. So Dr. Bill, if you don't mind, we can go with you first before, as Michael gets in to do the introductions, a little bit about your experience into CRE.
Okay, sure. Hello, my name is Dr. Bill Nieves. I'm the designated managing broker for the state of Utah. And I work alongside of operations. I've been in the industry for about a decade, and I come from the residential side, and I actually worked a lot of commercial, and then came full-blown commercial here in the past probably 5 years or so. So that's how I got started in here. The intro into commercial real estate is, I just want to go over a quick introduction of it because of respectful time. That commercial real estate can be the most stimulating and lucrative businesses, to become involved in. However, it can be very, very challenging as well as expensive. If you're deciding to switch over to commercial real estate, it's imperative that you become, educated in the language, down to the market, and down to, actually picking a product type to become a specialist in it. So the main product types are retail, you got industrial, office, and multifamily. And there are subcategories that actually fall under that as well. So if you have enough savings in a bank account, that's another big thing. In commercial real estate, the deal flow is longer. Like in the residential side or residential side, it could take, 30 days to close, maybe 45 days to close, get a paycheck. Here it's different. Here you're going to look at deal flow could take 60 days, 90 days. If you don't land deals, it could take maybe a few years to close that deal flow. And then, that's when you're going to get paid. So it's imperative that you have money in the bank account. So my suggestion is, if you're going to come over, is to be highly educated in the commercial arena and study and study your market and become an expert in the industry. But those people that are ready to actually step over to the commercial side and dive into a full time, or those newly licensed agents want to hang their license with us, we have you covered. So the next slide, please. And once you come over to the eXp Commercial Academy, like I said, we have you covered, because over here, you're going to be, if you didn't do 3 deals within a 24-month period, you're automatically enrolled into our eXp Commercial Academy. And this academy consists of 30 hours of training. It has an overview of CRE, commercial real estate, and it goes over the property types, characteristics, the transaction opportunities, and there is a ton of modules that you're going to go over. And you are going to know the bones and the language, and you're going to be pretty comfortable when you actually graduate from the academy. And another thing is while you're in the academy or upon graduation, you're going to be partnered up with a mentor. You're not going to be left hanging out in the wings and wondering what to do. The mentor is going to be partnered with you to keep you held accountable and also help you with your deals from down to throwing the pitch to closing. And you have to be a licensed eXp commercial agent to actually go to this particular academy. So next slide, please. Now, good news though. I've received calls all the time from the residential side, as well as brand new people who don't want to come full-fledged into the commercial arena because they just don't know. They just don't know maybe what they want to do. They don't know the product type. They're not sure if they're on the fence. They do more residential, so because it's a quicker close. That's okay. So what we had here, we developed a commercial learning center. eXp Commercial Learning Center was just being launched today. This is really fantastic news that we're going to put, a bunch of stuff, some educational videos in here that you're going to be able to study, take your time and look at, and then actually get comfortable in real estate. And what you get in here is the industry's leading commercial real estate training. We're only going to charge $249 for this. Now you see that little $6,500 value. The amount of material in here, it did cost that much. But with our sister company, eXp Realty and brand new agents, even eXp Commercial that want to enhance their commercial training, you're going to opt in for only $249. I personally took this way back a couple of years ago, and it cost me $2,500 out of my pocket. So this is such a fraction of the cost. And what you get is the education from our top CRE instructors, and also classes from the eXp Commercial Academy that is only privileged to our eXp Commercial agents. We're going to pull a couple videos over there. It's going to be approximately 6 hours of training from the overview of CRE down to, the product types, down to, how the transaction works. And here's the big one. The systems for success at 10.0, we're going to actually put into this learning center as well. You're going to have the opportunity to actually deep dive into this systems for success. And, I think it's 100+ videos down to from the Lipsy company. Michael Lipsy's a national trainer. If you do a little bit of research on him, you'll see that he has a system for success. This program alone is $3,500 if you buy it yourself. Again, we're just offering for $249. So next slide, please. And here's a system for success I talked about. It includes laying the prospecting foundation down to your CRM, the bread and butter, prospecting with intent, top of the mind, easy to find, selling by phone. It includes 100+ videos, as I mentioned. There's even workbooks in here and slides. And here's the great thing. After you complete the Michael Lipsy course, a Systems for Success 10.0, you can get a master's in commercial property designation and a PIN. Now you'll have to contact the Lipsy company to challenge that test. It is proctored, and then it's a $95 fee, but it's a fraction of a cost. Like I said, if you would get this course yourself, it costs you $3,500 and also $95 on top of that to get the certification. But you'll have that opportunity to get certified. Next slide, please. Then the eXp Commercial Training Center, you see the QR code there. Like I said, it's only $249, $6,500 value. And what you get is a top commercial instructions. You get some videos from our eXp Commercial Academy. That's only privileged for our licensed agents over there. You're going to get property type characteristics and transaction opportunities, cold calling, and presentation, and a lot more. So please scan this QR code today, opt in, get educated, and then hopefully that'll help your commercial real estate journey. Enjoy the rest of the program.
Dr. Bill, thank you so much. And I hope everyone scans this code, goes through the program, watches everything we're doing. And if it makes sense and you do like commercial real estate, want to upgrade your business, please scan it. This is really the, I would say 2023 special, but we may stop it because, it is such a great value that we're putting and really building on top of this training for other training programs that everyone can get in to learn more about commercial real estate. But without further ado, I have to introduce a longtime friend, great leader in the industry, so well known. I am so proud to call him my brother, being our Chief Growth Officer of eXp, running eXp, global, commercial, luxury. This man can do it all. Michael Valdez.
Oh, Jim, I can't do anything without this amazing team, including you and what you're doing and what you're running. Happy New Year to everybody. This is so wonderful. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with all of you. I love the fact that we're here the first weekend. We've got over 230 people on this call. Everyone's really talking about eXp commercial. I actually had a call this morning with another broker that was in Italy who I knew from just my my experience in global real estate and asked me about eXp commercial, and was really interested in looking at what is going to be a shift in our market. Everyone knows it's coming, and where opportunities lie. And it's really funny because the savvy investors know that they have to diversify. And those agents that know commercial will be doing so well in a shifting market. It is really exciting to see everything that you're doing. It's exciting to see so much interest that's here. And it's exciting to see what we're going to continue to do and grow with eXp commercial, not just in the United States, but where we can do other things around the globe. We're now in 24 countries. We opened Dubai at the end of the year, and we had so much excitement there. There is just going to be so much that we're going to do with eXp commercial. I can't wait for this year and what all these wonderful things that are going to be happening come to fruition under your leadership, Jim. And this is just so exciting. So thank you for allowing me a few minutes with all of you and to be here and to see what you're going to be talking about.
Michael, thank you so much, and always love to follow and lead your growth and your leadership and influence. No, thank you for leading the charge through the hardest times that we're transitioning through. But with your leadership and knowledge of the industry and friendships in the industry, we know eXp will be just fine. So, Michael, Valdez,
I'll tell you something, Jim. I always say this, that greatness comes in downturns. So no one should be afraid of this market, and markets are cyclical. This is supposed to happen. This is healthy. And so a downturn in pricing is healthy for us. We're positioned well for this. We're very well positioned. We're the largest independent real estate company in the world. We're almost at 87,000 agents around 24 countries. We are well positioned for success and for the agents that need a home to be able to serve their clients in what will be a market where people will be making a lot of money, in my opinion.
Michael, brother, thank you so much for taking this time
Jim,
to do the kickoff for our new year. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you guys so much. Take care.
We are in talking about the changing markets, and as Michael was saying, the opportunities that are happening. If you look at one thing that has always happened during the change in the markets, many clients do say, well, you know what can I do with my property? I can't sell it. What can I do? So here at eXp, we are looking at tax reassessment, property tax reassessment, and we are partnering and working with Ross and his team at Taxonics. So Ross, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about what you're working on with your product and the collaboration with what we're doing here at eXp with you.
That'd be great. Jim, Michael, thank you guys so much. What a great lead in to our slides here. If you guys could progress to the next slide, I'd appreciate it. Excellent. So good morning. I am Ross Lipkenhouse, founder and CEO of Taxonics, and we are a digital real estate tax services platform. It's no secret, certainly during this presentation today, that leadership at eXp is looking for unique opportunities to differentiate this company from peers and competitors in the industry. And I look at our partnership with you all, Taxonics and eXp, as a prime example of that. Our goal is to leverage our decades of experience in technology at Taxonics and working in the real estate tax services industry to help every eXp agent and broker tap into the multi-billion-dollar real estate tax services industry. And our primary goal in our partnership is to teach you all how to identify opportunities to monetize your existing network and provide additional revenue streams during this, what everyone is describing as an imminent real estate downturn. Next slide. So more than $600 billion in property taxes are paid each year throughout the United States, and with millions of taxable buildings ripe for real estate tax appeals each year, especially so in a market downturn. Sorry, back a slide. The real estate tax consulting industry is generating billions of dollars in revenue, serving many large real estate owners. However, until now, a vast majority of real estate owners, many of which are your clients and contacts in both commercial and residential, have really not had the access to the expertise to help reduce their tax bill, but we're changing that now. Next slide. So real estate tax is the single largest line item expense for residential and commercial property owners, and opportunities to reduce that expense exist in virtually every real estate market that you guys are in the US, big or small. And your personal network out there, brokers and agents I'm speaking to, you are already ripe with these opportunities. And through our partnership, we're going to teach and train all of you how to make money through those opportunities. Not only is this a new lucrative revenue stream, it's also a massive differentiator and value proposition that you guys can offer to your clients or prospective clients, which again is one of the main reasons I think that many of you dialed in today. So even if someone isn't buying, selling, or leasing a property, they always want to save money, and now we're going to bring those savings directly to them. Next slide. So my company, Taxonics, in partnership with eXp, is going to offer a level 1 real estate tax services certificate and training program. We're going to teach everyone how to understand tax assessments and the tax appeal process, how to identify those tax savings opportunities, and how to monetize the opportunities to improve your bottom line and your client's bottom line. Last slide, please. So this course that we've developed goes live January 18th, and eXp leadership has negotiated with me and my team an exclusive eXp discount that's going to be made available to all eXp agents and brokers. You guys can go to that link and pre-register. Once the course goes live, we'll notify you directly. And if you use that discount code eXp 2023, you can access our online course, earn your certificate, and start making money. All in less than probably 2 hours. So we're excited to get started working with you all. Certainly appreciate the invitation today. Look forward to expanding our platform, our tools and training to help eXp remain what I think is the most innovative and tech-forward real estate brokerage in the world. So thank you all for your time. We really appreciate the partnership and are looking forward to working with all of you guys.
Ross, thank you so much. And exactly that, we all have been around a couple market cycles, and it is scary if you don't stay open-minded and look for the opportunities, but it is exciting to have these partnerships because we know by working as a tax reassessment, working with the team, as we work on helping your clients out and educating yourself, it is huge. And everything else we can do here to keep putting cutting edge knowledge, training, technologies, what we can use for everyone to use and apply it in our industry and anyone in real estate. This is fabulous. So Ross, thank you so much for taking the time. And we look forward to having you back and in our world too, not just Zoom, but just to train and teach more people. So thank you so much, Ross. Next, we are going to go to our product specialty. And we said before, it is very important to know and be an expert or being able to plug in. We have 4 different product type specialist expert, Calvin Wong, who's a CCIM, very strong in tenant rep and retail, Dan Klatt, churches and nonprofit. This is something very close to my heart as things have changed and sometimes with different religious institutions. It was hard during COVID, nonprofit organizations where many of us volunteered for so many nonprofits, helping people, giving back. Todd Viltzman and I go back from the Marcus and Millichap days. Boy, he was a hitter. I was nothing like Todd. Todd was amazing commercial broker in the multifamily, but he did evolve into development, capital markets. Really excited to have part of our team. And also knowing Scott Cook. When I used to run Sperry, I know Scott was running the SVN down in San Diego. So it's excited with him and his knowledge, because this is so important with the product type specialty of property management. When the market does change, it is important to diversify your business, but with different services. And having Scott with IREM, the Institute of Real Estate Management, and doing property management, he's going to show some tips of how he got into business and evolved. So first, I see Dan. Dan, if you don't mind sharing in your story, because doing churches, nonprofits, and we were talking about schools, that's a very unique niche. Dan?
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate the opportunity to come on this morning. 1 second while I get my notes. There they are. So what we do is we've specialized in buying churches for buying and selling churches for the last 20 years. And it's very exciting. And so we've developed a network within eXp. And right now we're working with about 84 agents on different types of churches. So what we do as the eXp Church Guy Network is we introduce agents to a network of pastors who provide listing. We also will be marketing those same listings for the agents that list them. We market those listings to 49,000 pastors that we have across the country. We are in the relationship business. And when we build these relationships with the denominations and the pastors, it's important that we build a relationship with the denominations too, because often they are the bank. We work with them directly a lot of time. We provide tools and training that were actually designed by us specifically for church use in identifying properties and identifying good deals. And we provide support and communication directly with clients. We do a lot of three-way Zoom meetings with clients so that there's a warm handoff when we introduce a new agent to a new pastor. And we have lots of letter templates and different things like that to handle the daily business and even those eventual sticky situations that come along once in a while. We provide training, and we have a weekly Zoom meeting, which you'll see on Workplace. And so we broadcast email right now to almost 50,000 churches a month. And we're getting ready to increase it because in December, because of Christmas greeting, actually hit my ceiling and I ran out, my 50,000 emails ran out. So we provide targeted email broadcasts for your listings. And then what we expect of you is just to show up and be an extension of ours, boots on the ground, do the showings, but we can hand off listings to you. And then also learning, we will teach you how to evaluate. One of the reasons that I'm in this business is because I got a church listing and nobody in Las Vegas knew how to value it or knew what to do with it or could help me with it. And I was a newbie in real estate. I'd had my license about months. And the more I asked, the more I kept running into a roadblock. And then I decided, or I actually just identified the need. And so here we are. We're ready to help anytime anyone needs it. We're all over Workplace.
Dan, and if you can you put your contact information for those that may be in the eXp, but some people may be outside, and maybe as those that are listening, it may be easier. So if you don't mind putting that in. And thank you, because I did work with church groups, and unfortunately with the downturn, like a lot of other businesses, it is tough, right? So please reach out if you go to church or a religious institution, and if you are going through some issues. I know when I worked during brokerage, I came across this pretty large amount about how to help, how to build, how to restructure the churches or the schools. A lot of them were Catholic schools, and we were trying to figure out how to help. So having you here as nonprofit church and probably schools too. There is a way. Please reach out to Dan anytime. Next, I'd like to introduce Scott Cook. Scott and I've known each other for quite some time, and you had a very interesting path as you started from the property management, but we know right now this is so relevant where owners are looking at their properties, wondering what to do and how to save money and how to recapitalize, right? And how to get tenants. There's so much in the property management. So Scott, if you don't mind kind of sharing your journey, your story, and how did you get into the field of property management?
All right. Yeah. Thank you. And good morning, everyone. So yeah, a long time property manager, started right out of San Diego State, driving around leasing condos and homes, $35 for each one I got leased up, doing the boots on the ground, hard work where you start. And then moved into regional property management, commercial office buildings, large portfolios. And then as you can see, I've been doing it quite a while. Also a California commercial broker. I did own a franchise commercial office as well. And now I'm proud to say I'm over at eXp Commercial, working on the commercial side as well as leading the asset management committee over on eXp Commercial. We've got separate individual product council committees, and one of them that I'll be leading is the asset management, property management one. And I'm a big supporter of IREM. And so, we're going to be bringing in a lot of the education and the tools from IREM that they offer, as well as NAA and BOMA and CCIM and all the other great groups that we work with in the asset management space. So we'll be doing the monthly trainings for asset management as it relates to how we can work with brokers more effectively, how transaction brokers can more effectively work with asset managers, because as we all know, it can be a challenging transaction or it can be a smoother transaction if everybody works together better. So we'll be bringing in the education. We'll also be highlighting some of the benefits. Jim is a big proponent, and he's correct as far as, we're going into this next market and you've got some opportunities for people to be on-site managers or to work with portfolios. And those are going to be opportunities that are coming up, and they're going to be really strong, especially over the next few years. So, we'll bring in some of that education and opportunities. And then as well, hopefully get into some CE credits with IREM on some of their certifications. Later in this presentation, I'll introduce someone from IREM that's going to work on sustainability, and you'll see kind of the power of IREM behind that. And then the other thing that we're putting together at eXp Commercial is the referral business for property management, so that we'll be able to help the advisors place quality property management companies for their clients. So that's a brief history of me and kind of what we're going to be working on.
Scott, thank you. And it's glad to work with you right after so many years of just discussions. And it is important as the market changes. Many people need to be property managers, especially in multifamily, 16 units above. You need a property manager. You could live in it. And so there are opportunities there to get your RPA. But as Scott says, with all the NAA, there's CAI. I mean, there is so many three-letter, alphabet soup that you can learn and train right now. And as Scott said, what he did, and Scott, I'm glad you brought it up, by just leasing out these, let's say, apartment buildings, you get usually the 1 month rent that you make. Sometimes if it's larger, you can make more on a leasing and other spaces. So, please reach out to Scott. There's going to be a tremendous amount of opportunities in the property management field. So reach out to him, because we are building a referral to property management, hopefully going after receivership business. Then there's parts of contracting and many different pieces. We always say in property management, not sexy, but it pays the bills, right? We've always say that in property management. So Scott, very excited for you to do it. If you don't mind putting your information in, because I know everyone is looking for another way to do business and raise money, make money during this change. Next, I'd like to introduce Calvin Wong. Calvin, I'd like to say with CCIM, he is the president of the North Texas chapter, but he will be our international chair very soon. So Calvin Wong, I think you are international chair, but Calvin, if you don't mind introducing yourself and your background, how you got into this business, and pretty much what are you doing right now in the retail space?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jim. I think I need an hour to kind of go through all those that you have just asked, but Thanks very much for having me here, Jim. Appreciate it. So a little bit about my background. After college, I worked for Goldman Sachs for 7 years. So after that, investment banking. Me and my business partner, Daniel Ng, we kind of started a local boutique commercial real estate firm. That's from 2012. And then later on, we franchised a commercial franchise here in Dallas. And then a few years later, we are here in eXp Commercial. It's a very, very exciting time. We have been with eXp Commercial for about 2 years and have been growing our business, growing our team, and just a lot of positive, movement. So I focus in retail. So retail is not doom and gloom yet, right? We constantly see a lot of media that, okay, retail is doom and gloom because of all the e-commerce, the Amazon of the business that is affecting retail. But there's definitely a lot of opportunities. Retail is a pretty broad sector. You have big box retailer, you have grocery anchor, power center, regional center, and then you have the strip centers and also single tenant retail. So because of all these different sub property type within retail, there's obviously a lot of opportunity within it. I also teach commercial leasing class once a month at eXp University. Really help a lot of eXp agents, the residential or the commercial agents to really get more confident in doing leasing deals. So, like I said, there's a lot of different opportunities within retail, especially right now. Yes, some of the big box retailers are getting hit pretty hard, but there's a lot of big funds out there are looking at this big box and try to, there's a term called adaptive reuse. So basically they're converting all the big box property into the last mile delivery. So if you think about, all your products that ship to your doorsteps, this usually come from another states that ship to the last mile delivery centers and then later on transfer to your doorstep. So a lot of funds that are looking at big box retailer and convert those property into last mile delivery. So there's a lot of opportunity within retail if you kind of know and then look closely. But another thing I'm really excited about is all the talent that we have within the company. With Dan and Todd and Scott, all of them are an expert in their property types, and we do have a lot of talent, and of course we are a global company, and that's going to help us get more deals, get more opportunity. I hope I kind of answer all questions.
You did, Calvin. I know it's long, but I'm always learning from you when you were saying like the D malls, right? The big malls that are D malls, right? More distress. Unfortunately, we always see like JCPenney, Sears, right? We know how all of those anchors are going, but last mile, working with industrial, last mile is where they're shipping or now drone shipping, using it as storage in major metropolitan areas. So you're almost right there as a hub to distribute. But Calvin, see, this is the important thing, and I'm glad you brought up the different product groups. Scott Cook is overseeing the product type specialists where we're having multifamily, retail, office, industrial, land development, triple net, business opportunities, but also services like the capital markets, asset facility management, valuation, and other corporate services. And the perfect thing you said is we're corporate, not franchise. We can work and share and collaborate, which we're going to do these events on Zoom. So other people outside could see, I'm interested in multifamily, or like with you, Calvin, interested in retail or leasing, to plug in, to build a community. And we are building the technology behind it. So not only the training, education, certification, now you can plug into the tech to pass referrals and collaborate. So Calvin, thank you for your leadership and all that you're doing.
If I can add one more thing. So since Scott mentioned about CPM, I have to mention about CCIM. I forgot to kind of touch on that. So I'm the past president for North Texas chapter, CCIM. So CCIM, it's a designation for commercial real estate industry. It's like getting a master or PhD in commercial real estate analysis and investment. So it's really one of a kind kind of like they call it the gold standard of commercial real estate. And I'm very excited and proud of my team because I have at least 5 team members that are going through taking the CCIM courses right now. So eventually they want to get their destination. So it's like, just like CPA in accounting, in property management, you have CPM, in financial industry, you have CFA. So CCIM is a highly regarded designation. And so when you think about, okay, why get CCIM? I think also another reason is because it's also another professional network that you can plug into to build relationship, friendships, and hopefully you get some deals done. And in fact, within our eXp commercial, we have quite a few of CCIM heavy hitters that are, our partners with us. So really excited about it, that we are continuing to grow our agents to get involved in CCIM and really make a mark in the industry.
Calvin, thank you.
Real quick too, if you've got your CCIM or your CPM, you can get the other one a lot easier. So if you have one, go and get the other one, because I know CPMs love to work with CCIMs and vice versa, because they're kind of the best of the best working with each other, and things go a lot smoother. So you can get both.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because with SIOR, I mean, when everyone sees it later on in this introduction, we're going to go with the top SIOR, CCIM, IREM, also NAR commercial. So many of their leaders are the REAP program. So there are so many leaders, strong institutions that all collaborate. And the great thing is we all know, by the longer you go and participate, we all know each other, right? It's all the same friends that overlap with different credentials, and we share and pass deals. So thank you for bringing some tremendous trade organizations. And we will have your presidents coming and speaking at our events at our trade group. But Todd, I'd love to share, because Todd, I mean, it is awesome. We re-met each other again from the Marcus days to then you were at Sperry Van Ness when it was Sperry Van Ness before SVN. And then you were at CBRE and so many other groups. I mean, it is awesome that you're going to be here. If you don't mind, Todd, sharing kind of your background and what you've accomplished and, the vision of what you're doing now here at eXp.
Well, Jim, thank you very much. I'm super excited to be a part of this. And as you mentioned, I've been doing this for quite a while, and it's gone by quick. My journey in this business started at a point where a lot of people's starts, which is at Marcus Millichap, and people are drawn there because the training is good. And I've moved from kind of the private capital markets into the institutional markets. I spent 5 years running the multifamily platform at CB Richard Ellis in Northern California. And then we transitioned our entire team over to Cushman Wakefield, where we built a vertically integrated model, which in the multifamily business involves development. I think that's a critical aspect of the industry to understand, because there's a lot more to brokerage in the multifamily category than just selling existing buildings. As a matter of fact, the practice group and the platform that we're building today, and why this is such a great fit with eXp, is we can provide a whole different service level to our clients through aggregated ancillary services, including debt and equity. And the tricky part about brokerage that you don't really understand when you're starting out is you really just have one tool in your toolbox. And if you're a hammer, everything kind of needs to look like a nail. And a lot of what you do early in the business is just cold call and ask people if they want to sell. But if you really think about the business from a value perspective and how you can create a value proposition, it changes the way you approach your clients. And there's so many more things that Jim is doing and eXp is doing to really fill a toolbox for people starting in the business, so that you can communicate with people in a much more comprehensive way that delivers a much higher value proposition that really doesn't exist in our industry. And part of the reason, and I have some pretty strong feelings about this, is it's a very archaic business. It's kind of an old school business. And I think a lot of the guys who are running these practice groups will tell you that their journey into this business was basically overcoming barriers to entry that are created by the people that have been there before. And I just have a different approach. I think that if I can teach someone in a day what it took me 20 years to do, then that's what I want to do. And it really isn't a super complicated business. The nice thing about multifamily is you can see your product outside your window. Applying some very basic key fundamentals to understanding how to start in the business, which, for example, running a stock velocity report, understanding how many apartment buildings are in your market, how often they transact. For example, if you have 1,000 apartment buildings in your farm, then it translates to approximately 300 owners, and the average hold period is 10 years. So right there, you have a 10% velocity factor, meaning there's going to be 100 transactions in your farm in any given year. And there are things driving transactional velocity in multifamily that are separate from the residential arena and separate from what you're hearing in the market today. And I think we're moving into a very exciting time that will create a lot of transactional velocity. So, you know, our training is going to be focused on just kind of dispelling the belief that there's this incredibly high barrier to entry to get started, applying some of those very key fundamentals to get you started in the right way. And it can mean a pretty short ramp up period to what I think could be a very successful career. And quite honestly, there just aren't a lot of people in our business that are relaying that critical information to people who are getting started. So that's one of the cornerstone pieces to what we're building here and why I'm so excited to be a part of it.
Todd, no, thank you. And you know, you practice what you preach, because you were, I think, the rookie of the year. You did so well when you were doing brokerage, and then you were leading teams. You led the office in Long Beach, and then you oversaw multifamily. I mean, at the highest level at CBRE. Then, you know, you still say there's still a lot of opportunity, because you don't just do multifamily, you do development, you know, the big one that's about affordable housing. And I know from you and your team, there's still opportunity. So if you don't mind, Todd, putting your information in the contact, because I know most people that are doing residential, multifamily is the next step up. But many of us know developers, land, whether it's entitled or not, or raw, there's going to be opportunities with broken projects during this cycle. So Todd, if you don't mind putting your contact info, I'd like to now start with Dan. Dan, what are you doing now in this transitioning market? I know maybe during COVID, things have started, but what are you doing with your clients right now with the higher interest rates? Dan?
Yes, sir. Sorry, I lost you for a second. Did you
So
ask?
what are you doing to advise your clients during the changing markets? Because I know during COVID was tough. What are you advising them now with the higher interest rates, and maybe high interest rates for all of 2023?
Our clients have been backing off and getting very quiet. And it happened in the last recession too. But we do have a lot of other services for the churches, and we also train the agents on how to do those other services. We're involved in the charitable gifting of real estate. We get to sell donated properties when they get donated to the nonprofit. That's exciting. And so we're kind of focusing on that right now.
You know what, Dan, I can't wait until you start training and teaching people this, because you're right. Charitable remainder and other ways to structure it is a way. So looking forward to when you start training and teaching people how to come to talk to people through this angle. Next, Scott, you know, with the property management, this is always the big one, right? When the market does change. So what are you seeing, and what are you doing with your clients in the management field?
You know, really for property management, when transactions slow down, it actually gets a little bit better for us. We have, you know, properties that are a little bit more stable long-term, but you know, when things get tight, they look to us to find even more ways to cut expenses and be more efficient. And that goes back to energy management systems for buildings, repurposing buildings, you know, and basically just trying to, you know, cut expenses and see what we can do. You know, income gets backed off a little bit, you know, maybe rent increases, especially on the residential side. While rents are still strong, people aren't moving as much. And so, you know, we get stable on the income, and we continue to try to find ways to cut expenses. On the commercial side, when it comes to retail, supporting the advisors that are doing the transactions, especially the leasing, office, retail, industrial. It's a lot of our role in the asset management world is supporting the owner's objectives and goals, and then working with the brokers on, what needs to be done. Sometimes it's just a refinance, sometimes it's a reposition. So, for us, it's really just, making sure that we put together reasonable budgets, and then continue to work with the tenants, during times that are tough slow down for the brokers. A lot of times that slows down for the tenants. And on the commercial side for the tenants, sometimes their business falls. You've got to work with them. It becomes, a little bit more personable. Again, if you've got a restaurant tenant and their sales have dropped 20% because of, just the economy, we've got to work with them, right? We've got to find a way to keep them, be successful in their business. Sometimes, we have to, really look at supporting them. Are they marketing? What are they doing? We really become partners with the tenants as much as the owners in many ways to help that success. So for us, it's just, really, making the properties as efficient as possible, and working with both the owner clients and the tenant clients to keep it going through these times.
Scott, thank you. No, and it is important, right? As we underwrite, we all know brokers, we kind of fudge the underwriting, but property management, right? The money, the cash flow is there. They're surviving off the cash flow. So there's no fudging that, right? When you're doing it. So, property management is so important. Thanks, Scott. And then next, Calvin, what are you doing with the change? Like you said, retail's not dead yet. Hopefully it won't die. We've been hearing this from this ICSC, for those that go to ICSC, but we've been hearing the death of retail. But what's going on with retail?
Yeah, so retail investors are taking an extended vacation, right? Because a lot of investors, they're sensitive to the interest rate, whereas right now there's still a gap between the seller expectation and the buyer expectation. Obviously, interest rate has been going up quite a bit right now for a commercial retail loan. It's about 7%, whereas your cap rate is still hovering around 6.25. This is on the multi-tenant strip centers. So there's definitely a gap. So investors are basically taking a pause just to see where the market is heading to. However, there's going to be, which you guys may probably seen it on the media, that there's going to continuously media reporting about influx of opportunity. The reason why is because those investors or buyers, when they bought the property back in 2018, 2019, they bought it with the interest rate at 3 to 4%. Whereas right now, so commercial loans is usually 5-year term. So, in 2022, 23 is where the time they have to either A, refinance that loan, B, to pay it off, or sell the property. So there's going to be some opportunities coming out due to, because with the refinancing, if you borrow it at 3.5% a couple of years back, and then right now it's 7%, that's double your the interest rate, and your debt service coverage ratio, DSCR, may not make sense, which costs you, if you want to refinance, you have to bring more cash to the table. Versus back in 2018, the loan to value, it's pretty healthy, right? 75%, 70%. Whereas right now, lender is requiring the 60% LTV. So that's why, those metrics cost, there's going to be opportunity, because buyers doesn't want to bring more cash to the table to refinance. So they would have to offload the property. Versus, so investors are taking a pause, but users, right? So if you're dealing with hospitality group or business owners, if business is there, they have to expand, they're gonna bite the bullet and go acquire the property or lease the property. So right now, me and my team, we are handling a lot of business owners versus investors, because right now is the deals are more in the business owner side versus investors.
Thank you, Calvin. And it's important to learn the pivot, the changes, and then as everyone can see, the cross pollination or promotion and helping each other amongst different product type and services, like you were mentioning, capital markets. I mean, we're really excited to announce, some of these big capital markets partnerships. Todd's partner on the West Coast. We have another one in New York City. We have, through Jeff Finn, a lot of the international global capital markets and through mutual friends. But, like you said, people are not changing in the market yet, and recapitalizing, looking at their capital stack, especially their short-term debt, 5 years is coming up. That's problematic, right? As lease rates and everything are coming down. So Calvin, thank you, for sharing that. Todd, I know multifamily was the kind of the stable baby out of, a lot of the product type. It was just steady without the, growth of the fast growth of industrial, but it was always steady. It was always a good product. But can you tell us kind of what you're seeing on the development? Because we were talking about this, where affordable housing is so important, those mixed use projects. What are you seeing on the affordability land development front of, let's say, whether it's multifamily or mixed use projects?
Well, Jim, you make an excellent point, and so does Calvin, that in a stable market cycle, there are certain things that drive velocity, but when there's turbulence in the market, there's a lot of other categories that you need to look to, rather than just kind of going back to the same category of business that doesn't represent current transactional velocity. And if many of you I know have read the book Who Moved My Cheese, but it's a perfect book to pull out right now and blow the dust off of, because it's a parable about change, and we're experiencing a change in the market, and you just have to figure out where that transactional velocity is. And if you think of multifamily as a vertical line, at the top of the line, you've got a raw piece of dirt where eventually someone's going to entitle and build a multifamily property. And at the bottom of that line, you've got an apartment building that's been built and stabilized and seasoned and is ready for a value add sponsor to come in and buy that property. So in that vertical continuum, there are several access points that what we will do as a platform is help you identify and then help you communicate those kind of where the need in the market is to your database. And that marketing, that communication will drive traffic to you as a broker. So development is a very critical piece of understanding the multifamily business. And it's really not all that complicated. I mean, none of what we're doing is so complicated that it can't really be explained to someone. And the nice thing about the eXp platform, and I always say this, is you don't have to know everything in the world. You just have to know someone who does. And the great thing about a network like this is you're going to have a resource on the team who can step in and help with development or help with debt or help with equity. Development and affordable housing right now are a key driver to transactional velocity because of all the local, state, and federal subsidies that are being poured into the creation of affordable housing. So understanding some key fundamentals about how those subsidies work, where those subsidies are coming from, and how to translate that value proposition to the clients you're talking to is a very critical piece of what we're doing right now. And one of the reasons we think there's going to be a lot of opportunity in not only development land brokerage, but also the debt and equity side of the business.
No, Todd, thank you, for sharing it. And, the evolution, because we know with the land, this cycle, like many others, right? Broken projects, finding money to place in. And on the last call we had a bunch of architects, civil engineers, different people that could now, as we're starting to build a corporate service team, to really help once you find that opportunity, as Todd said, surrounding yourself by experts, because that is important, being a network, not siloed, and not even siloed within your product type expertise, but working and collaborating across all different product type services and not being in one area, but learning a little bit about everything. So one last advice, what would you do and give in this 2023 market? Dan, I want to start with you. What advice would you give everyone, whether you're new or senior, what advice would you give for 2023?
I think being open to new ideas is very, very important. I'll give you an example. A pastor sometimes thinks that a church building should always be used as a church forever. However, a lot of churches were built in the 60s when we weren't so car dependent, or the 50s. and they're better to be repurposed as a restaurant or a museum or something like that, or even a loft apartment building. So new development and being open to new ideas is important. Sometimes we run against a wall in our own mind.
And thank you for sharing that. Actually, yeah, that's the first I heard that. That actually is very interesting because, you know, cities, they hate to give permits for religious institutions because they can't tax it. Very interesting. You know, I'd love to discuss, because I know with Todd, we were talking about public-private partnerships, right? Everyone hears about that. So it would be interesting, as many here are elected or they're part of commissions for planning. So, Dan, I'm glad you brought that up, being open-minded and looking how you could repurpose and not being stuck and siloed. Same question to you, Scott.
You know, I'd say just be positive. There's always opportunities. I mean, you know, somebody's down market is somebody's up market. So, you know, stay positive, and you're just going to have to redouble your efforts. Look for the opportunities. There's always some opportunity that people aren't working. You know, if your database isn't big enough because the transactions have slowed down, then you're going to have to increase your database or your range. So I think it's just the opportunity. The last couple of years, you know, money has been a little bit easier. Deals have been closing. Everybody's been excited. So, you know, you better have a business plan, and you better be following up on it. Have a, you know, fill up the pipeline and just keep working your business. But, you know, start holding yourself a little more accountable, because the dollars aren't as easy. You're just going to have to power through a little bit more. And that's okay, because, you know, we always come out of these, you know, people my age and older, we've seen a few of these cycles. So life goes on. Just, you know, redouble your efforts and hold yourself accountable.
Thank you, Scott. Same question, Calvin.
Yeah, so no doubt there's going to be challenges ahead. This year is going to be a very interesting year. It's going to be bumpy road. But if you, just like Dan said, be open-minded, and then what Scott is saying, be positive. And I would add is to basically surround yourself with talented people, just like what we have here. I mean, we, you know, Jim and everyone have created such a great community within this company, a global company, that there's a lot of talent. So, and during challenging time, it requires creativity to get the deal done. So if you leverage all the experts within this room or within the company to help you get, you know, to the goal line, I think really just to leverage, you are not alone, right? Because you are here within this environment that each and every one of us at some point have some ideas that can help you push through that deal to help you get the deal done. So really leverage, you know, open mind, positive, and leverage the talent within this company.
Calvin, thank you. Todd, final words?
Well, I think it's a great time to enter the industry, and it's a great time to build your business. Anytime there's a shift in the market cycle, what happens is the attrition rate in brokerage shoots up. And a lot of guys who have been practicing kind of the traditional brokerage business, who just sell, are experiencing, you know, a very low velocity market. But if you come in now, you apply some key fundamental disciplines to your practice and identify what those are, and the business we're building today is different than the business that exists out there, and the multifamily business that historically has been prevalent in our marketplace. So I just think it's a great time to step into this business, to learn some new skill set, and surround yourself, like Calvin said, surround yourself with good people. That's always a key to any business, is just surround yourself with people who can help you understand how the industry works. And a lot of what our training is just, you know, kind of applying the things that we wish someone would have told us when we were getting started. That oddly enough, there aren't a lot of people around that do that. But I think the culture that eXp has cultivated really, it creates a lot of people who are just here to help other people get started and get a foothold in the business. So I just think it's a good time.
God, no, these are all great, excellent wisdom from people that are being experienced through different market cycle. Is just, you know, to stay open-minded, look for these opportunities, to collaborate, work with experts, stay positive, you know, all good stuff. And we know going through cycles, these are all very necessary, and collaborating, constantly reinventing. So Calvin, Dan, Todd, Scott, thank you so much for giving us your time and your leadership, as we're going to have product specialty committees opening up and teaching on Zoom and in our world. So we're going to mix it up month by month so everyone can learn, collaborate, connect with us. Whether you're with eXp or not, you can plug in because we're one big commercial real estate and real estate industry as a whole, as friends. So we always say never burn bridges. So thank you so much, everyone. Next, I'd like to introduce Lindy McNeese. I said Lindy with me from the very beginning, setting this all up. So Lindy, if you don't mind introducing our next guest.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jim, so much for having me. Let me be a part of all of this. And Happy New Year to everyone. We're so grateful that you're able to come and participate and spend this morning with us today. So I do want to introduce Justin Amos. Justin Amos is such a pleasure and a joy to get to work with. He is a 1031 specialist. He's the National Sales Manager and Account Executive for JTC Americas. JTC is one of our preferred partners. We work very closely with them, as well as, all of the different deals that they're able to get done for your clients, for all of our agents and brokers that we have at eXp. So Justin, please open your mic, come in, talk a little bit about JTC. Take it away.
Thanks, Lily. I appreciate the warm introduction, and I'm looking forward to another year working with eXp and eXp Commercial and bringing our services to the agents. So a little bit of more background about JTC Americas. We were formerly known as NES Financial, and we were founded on this principle that there are certain investment programs, while well-intentioned, lack the regulations or compliance guidelines, and therefore fail to achieve its potential by falling either victim to fraud or mismanagement. So using our Silicon Valley background, we developed this purpose-built technological solution called eStack, which helps reduce fraud and abuse, streamline the administrative requirements for these specialty types of transactions, and ultimately help them do the good that they were intended to do. So whether it's for fund managers, investors, this means providing solutions that embed security, transparency, and regulatory compliance through each step of the investment life cycle. So through our 18 plus years of leadership, we've defined the industry's best practices in each of the markets we serve. As Lindy highlighted, we are an interrelationship with eXp and 1031 exchanges, where we've serviced $825 billion as a qualified intermediary to EB5 investments and the 650 plus projects and over 20 billion in capital flowing, with about 60% of the market share flowing through our platform, and continuing to make great strides today in both the private equity and opportunity zone space, where we have over 120 funds driving capital to these underdeveloped communities. Across them all, our purpose-built technology and administrative solutions helps protect the capital and also ensures reputation for your, not only for eXp, but for your agents, that any of the transactions that we administer gets done appropriately and to compliant. Now, 3 years ago, as I mentioned, NES Financial was acquired by a firm out of Jersey in the UK called JTC Group. JTC Group is an award-winning provider of fund, corporate, and private client services. They were founded in 1987, and the company employs over 1,300 people globally across its 23 global offices, and is a trusted administrator for assets over $200 billion, and has recorded 34 consecutive years of revenue and profit growth. Now, JTC Americas is the coming together of two fund powerhouses, two award-winning customer-driven platforms, strong cultural values and high-caliber employees, and unmatched fund administration expertise. So like eXp, we are a global publicly traded firm, and we both use technology to champion best practices, transparency, and to leave a positive mark on the communities we service worldwide. So JTC Americas effectively became the US headquarters for JTC, and this partnership with eXp was kind of a match made in heaven, both companies being global, both championing best practices and ultimately using technology to really help the communities we service worldwide.
Thank you so much, Justin, for coming in today. And if you wouldn't mind putting your information in the chat box below,
Yes.
Or if you will, any of you on this call, you can always email info@expcommercial.com and we can get Justin's info to you. So that way, if you have any 1031 exchange deals that you'd like to talk to him about, please don't hesitate to reach out. So Jim, back to you.
Lindy, thank you. And Justin, thank you. We are so excited as we are scaling and building with JTC America, and later on Fortitude, as we're bringing all of our family. It's great when we were showing up at these old TIC meetings, right? The old TIC practitioners and working together. So Justin, it is exciting for 2023, which we know there's a lot of opportunities. So thank you for your friendship and partnership. Next, we'd like to introduce, because we couldn't get this all down without texts and tools that we're launching. And next, I'd like to have Bernard Abola, who is our commercial marketing director, introduce and open up and talk to our guests about what are we doing with commercial technologies and tools. Bernard?
Wonderful. Thank you, Jim. What an exciting panel we have up to date. Technology and tools. Obviously, commercial real estate has been growing because of technology and tools. It provides efficiency. It provides automation. It saves time and gets everyone organized. We have an amazing panel of Taylor Clausen, the Vice President of Partnerships at BuildOut. We have Jeff Finn, the CEO of RealNex. And we also have Jason Lowe, Senior Vice President of Altus Data Studios, Reonomy. Hello, gentlemen. How are you today?
Good morning. Thanks, Bernard.
Morning.
Good morning. Wonderful. Thank you for all being here today. I have a couple questions that will give the audience so much value. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your role, your company, and what your software solves in the CRE industry. Taylor, let's start with you today.
Thanks, Bernard. Yes, good morning, everybody. My name is Taylor Clausen. I lead our partnerships group here at BuildOut, responsible for working with others within the broader commercial real estate tech ecosystem to bring just solutions to market that help brokers, agents such as yourselves win more deals, close more business. And that's really at the heart of what we do at BuildOut and the types of tools that we're providing to you all through our partnership with eXp, which we're really excited about. We want to free up your time to be able to win more listings, trade more deals, spend more time doing what you do best, which is closing business. So we want to enable you to do that through our platform, through listings and marketing automation and a host of different tools. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you, Taylor. Jeff, let's go to you.
Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks for having RealNex as part of the eXp family and framework for technology solutions. We have a complete stack of real estate technology tools that are built to drive efficiency and transparency in the market. And it starts with a market-leading CRM platform that helps to find and identify opportunities, to surface up prospects and use predictive analytics to find likely buyers and sellers, tenants and opportunities in the market, and then to drive the financial underwriting and analysis of offerings as you go to market, to put the collateral stack together from flyers, brochures, full offering memos, and private and secure deal rooms to run sales processes. A fully integrated and mobile app that does a tour book and leasing support for landlords, and to tie landlords and tenants together into a community and a marketplace to showcase offerings and to put them out into the broad public domain, as well as to manage what would be considered or could be managed as off-market transactions. So you have sort of the full life cycle from business development and prospecting to underwriting, analysis, packaging, presentation, and marketing. And we have a fantastic 3D modeling capability to look at the adaptive reuse of properties and how it could be visualized and presented for pre-leasing, pre-sales, as well as for approvals and capital formation.
Thank you, Jeff. Jason.
Thank you, Bernard, and Happy New Year, everyone. A pleasure to be here. So Jason Lowe, I'm the Senior Vice President of our go-to-market for our intelligence and strategy offers. Altus Group, we're a publicly traded company, and basically we provide what we call intelligence as a service, which is a combination of expert services, analytics, and technology that's all delivered simultaneously through offers around, if you think about it, the asset life cycle. So everything from beginning to end, and service through different offers that we provide. The particular offer that we're excited to expand our partnership with eXp on, and I say expand, is related to our intelligence, which is an expansion of what we've done in the US market, particularly as it relates to our Reonomy edition, web platform delivering basically property level attribute data throughout all CRE assets across the entire US market. And now most recently excited to be able to expand that partnership into the Canadian market by delivering and offering what we call our Data Studio Edition, which effectively is the tracking of all market activity, and whether that be commercial sales transactions, market inventory and leasing, as well as residential development across all the major markets in the country. So we're very excited to be able to expand this partnership, to be able to deliver more together, starting with access to our web apps, and obviously with a future potential to expand that beyond that, whether it be through APIs or other value-added offers that we can provide to help obviously empower eXp and its broker membership to be able to win more mandates, spend less time trying to find, and more so spending time on analyzing and delivering increased value to their clients.
Thank you, Jason. Now, I know that the commercial real estate software market size is roughly around 2.69 billion and is projected to reach 4.56 billion by 2030. Very big, large market. Taylor, let's ask you a question. What are you seeing post-pandemic with work, remote, and technology? What's happening?
I think as a workforce here in the US especially, I think partly because of the fact that we're depending on technology to do a lot more of our day-to-day. Case in point, something like this. I think our proficiency in a tool like Zoom from today compared to 3 years ago is much higher, because it's something that it's just part of our day-to-day work life now. And I think for all of us, and especially in the commercial real estate industry, we're seeing brokers, agents becoming more and more comfortable with having technology be a part of their day-to-day life, and leveraging those tools to help automate and free up time so that they can focus on and really take advantage of the in-person interaction that they do have, going on tours, meeting with clients, all the other things that would happen within a day, within a week, within your careers. So I think just the overall proficiency and the comfortability with tech and having software be part of our day-to-day lives, even virtual assistants. I know that some of you might even use virtual assistants to help automate certain tasks that might happen that are on your plate throughout the day. I think that is the number one proficiency. I have 4 kids under the age of 11, and their ability to use Zoom is astounding, because that's how they learned for a year. So I think the ability to use technology in our day-to-day lives is the number one takeaway I see.
Jason, same question to you, since you're privy to so much data. After post-pandemic, what are you seeing with the workforce? What are you seeing with the CRE industry? What are you seeing in technology as a whole?
Yeah, I would say that the pandemic has been very much a catalyst, right, to what I would say the adoption of technology was sort of imminent. It fast-tracked a lot of that, right? So I think that the ability to be able to, we always talk about making informed decisions. The ability to be able to actually do that, and I would say, do so based on empirical evidence as opposed to the gut feel, right? The days of that are gone. The accountability related to CRE as a official asset class, that's something it's nothing new, but I would say that the accountability for that, more importantly, the ability to be able to do it with ease is basically something that is not only here, but it's going to continue to fast track as we move forward. I think a lot of capabilities are going to go beyond what we're seeing today. A lot of things that Taylor's mentioned as well. Like, I mean, I agree. The adoption of technology, you talk about the kids, totally agree with you. I look at my mother now who can actually, message me and do all kinds of things on that I never thought she'd be able to. A lot of that was fast track. Why? Because you couldn't see them. So I think that there are things that the silver linings of the pandemic are going to be, there's some permanence to that, right? And I would say on a positive note, things that, again, as I said, have been fast tracking through the adoption of technology, the employment of data analytics to be able to make faster, more informed decisions with respect to CRE are going to be things that are going to continue and go beyond of what we're seeing today.
And we'll stay with you, Jason, and we'll bounce around a little bit just because of the sake of time. But what is the most recent exciting feature of your platform that you're excited about today?
Yeah, I would say that the combination of just the market data, but in combination with analytics, right? To be able to, so one of the things that we're excited to be able to start introducing is the predictive aspect of data. Data is as good as market information intelligence, but being able to not just be predictive, but ultimately get to prescriptive, right? To be able to actually make decisions, not just in terms of foresight, but actually have empirical evidence formulate the actual decision making. While we don't make the decisions for you, we'll enable you to be able to do that. That's part of our mission, and hence the term intelligence as a service.
Jeff, I want to ask the same question to you. Your platform, RealNex, what is the most exciting new feature that you're proud of today?
I think it ties into what Jason was talking about. We've just launched a new data service, and as part of it, we can ingest and work very closely with Reonomy data so that you can put it to work within the RealNex system. We also have our own data solution and data service that provides a lot of the core information that's required for decision making and analysis, business development, prospecting. I think it elevates to at maybe the last panel, and for the audience, the benefit and at least the thought of specializing and expertise. The commercial real estate market is huge. A lot of people try to do a little bit of everything and don't do anything particularly well, or that they do a lot of things okay. But when you want an expert in the market, you don't want someone who can do things okay. You want someone who can really master the market, who is the most knowledgeable about a particular asset class and a particular geography. So we've developed the tools and the information set to come together for agents to really penetrate a market and know everything they can about every asset in the market, every buyer, every seller, every lender, every building, every piece of land. And using our structure, they can layer on the proprietary information that only they know. So there's a lot of commodity level information out in the market, but it's the nuance of the market that makes it really special to an individual as they focus in and understand the north side or the downtown core of multifamily, or whatever subsector of medical office or whatever it might be, to be able to really drill down, take a foundation layer of information, build on that, their proprietary information, put it into one place that could be easily then used for prospecting and business development to the full life cycle, all in one suite. So the data starts the process, but it flows seamlessly through the entire life cycle. And I think that what we've found, it just changes the game for the speed at which, and it turns upside down the amount of time in prospecting from being the majority of time to the time in execution becoming the majority of the time. So prospecting becomes much simpler and faster, easier when you know the market well, and that drives then your ability to put your time to best use in adding value to your clients.
Pareto's principle, right? Spending 80-20 rule, right? Spending the
Exactly. Yep.
20% of your time on things that actually matter, which is really important. Taylor, I want to give you an opportunity to talk about build out, and what's your most exciting features recent released?
Yeah, the most exciting is actually, I'm gonna give a little bit of a spoiler alert here. We've a press release that will drop this week for a really exciting acquisition that we just made, and it actually pertains to one of the speakers earlier mentioned. 2023 is going to be a year where we're going to have to lean into creativity to win, and everything we did in 2022 might not work in 2023. So to that end of trying new things and leveraging, providing more creative options for eXp agents at scale, we are about to release a feature in which, after you upload your listing data into Build Out to begin marketing your listing, the ability to add professional photography, video, aerial shots in a very scalable manner so that your listings can stand out with award-winning media to really convey the value of the property that you have on market. So it's something that we're really excited about. The technology in that space is super exciting, and we're excited to bring it into the overall Build Out platform, so we can really be there every step of the way of the deal cycle for you all as you seek to close more business in 2023.
That's wonderful to hear, Taylor. And if you could solve for the horrendous profile headshots that commercial real estate and also residential agents use, that's a winner.
Right.
Okay. Taylor, I want to stick with you a little bit. Let's deep dive down into just high level. What do you see for the future of CRE technology? And we all on the panel, I'm pretty sure we played around with AI, ChatGPT. There's a lot of things in the market now that are very exciting. How does that apply to CRE?
It's a good question. The future of CRE technology, I think we will begin to see, and this kind of builds upon what Jason was mentioning earlier. I think data is going to be even more and more valuable as currency in our market in the years ahead. Those who are able to parse through the data in a way that allows you to make conclusions, draw insights, that allows you to make decisions so that you can move with speed, and that you can do that in a scalable way. I think we've seen it in other markets, and I think CRE has been maybe a little bit behind of some other industries, and I think we see the needle move over these next 3 to 5 years. I think you mentioned earlier, Bernard, just the growth that is poised within the CRE tech industry. I think as more and more of us get more and more comfortable using technology, using data to just get smarter and more efficient in our day-to-day. So I think you're going to continue to see data leveraged in new ways to help agents stand out, to differentiate, and to really be that trusted advisor for their clients.
And then Jason and Jeff, with that said, how do current agents, brokers, companies, entrepreneurs stay on top of all the shift in technology and trends? How do they stay on top of it, and how do they make that an opportunity?
Well, I think that there's more to the story about digital transformation and what's happening in the market. If you look at the past cycles and what was talked about earlier today, that there's a liquidity issue in the market. When there's liquidity issues in the market, capital finds a way. If you looked at the prior cycles, the REIT market was formed out of a market that it needed capital formation, and it needed time to come to bear and to become so significant in the market. I think we're at now this confluence of technology and capital in commercial real estate that's going to be the next transformative point in the market, where the mass market still has not been able to invest in real estate. And with tokenization, with the ability to, with data, completely underwrite assets and know about a building just like you know about a security in the stock exchange, buildings will be tradable and finally have the liquidity that the market's been after. So it's not, you asked earlier about has the pandemic changed things. I think pandemic was part of a transformation, but the technology, blockchain, mobilization of technology, the sort of the comfort of people using technology, and this inexorable move towards liquidity and transparency in the marketplace has opened up so that the ability, the velocity of transactions will actually be faster, better, and easier. There's going to be more trading in the market coming out of this cycle than going in, because there's going to be a lot more liquidity and the ability to exit without so much friction, and to come in without so much friction and cost. So pretty exciting time where you'll be able to put a property on the market and it'll sell just like, you know, an IPO going out to the market. You know, these things are what I think is what's next in commercial real estate. And it's pretty exciting opportunity for everyone to keep their eye on.
Yeah, I would just add that, you know, as I mentioned before, I think like the pandemic has very much been a catalyst. Like, I think it's been a catalyst. So, you know, we talk about, you know, agents in CRE, the entire industry, like I would say all stakeholders moving in concert with the need to adopt technology very quickly, right? In both the way they transact, they interact, they make decisions, they, you know, capitalize on data, and to be able to capitalize on all the opportunities that, you know, Jeff has mentioned, right? That in terms of the speed of digital transformation and how you capitalize on those opportunities. I think that it's actually brought everyone, I think, in concert to a point where everyone's sort of moving at the same pace now, because I agree with Taylor, the industry has been very far behind. CRE arguably further behind, was slower to adopt than residential, right, in terms of technology adoption. But what I would say in turn, though, is CRE now is moving at light speed, right? And I think the pandemic, albeit not the sole factor, it was just a catalyst, right, for something that was imminent anyway. It's allowed, I think, everyone, because of the way we had to conduct business, to move in concert. So I think, you know, to address your question, Bernard, continuing to be involved and being a part of the way CRE transacts, and regardless of, you know, who you're interacting with in terms of stakeholder, it's gonna, like everyone, it's gonna be part of how you do business. You're gonna be aware of it. Like it's not something you're gonna have to seek after. It's gonna be there. You're gonna be a part of it now, right? You're naturally part of the evolution.
Taylor, Jeff, Jason, thank you for being here. We appreciate you and your insights and sharing your experience. Thank you for your partnership with eXp and our relationship. And we look forward to working together in the future. And thank you for pushing the CRE industry into the future. Jim, I want to take it back to you.
Thank you, Bernard, and thank you, Taylor, Jeff, and Jason. You know, with putting these partnerships together, it is so important, right? Always looking for the latest tech, what people are doing, what people are working. And I'm guilty of working with trying to play around with chat, GPT and all those, and trying to make a book out of it. And it's actually cool, right? With the artwork that you could put into the AI system. So, you know, very excited and curious what the future is going to bring us in technology. But talking about technology with Mitch Ginsburg, you know, creating calm loans, Stephen Weiss with the capital markets, because we know capital and finance that we've been talking to so much right now hasn't evolved, but we need to use technology into it. So Mitch, I know, you know, we have a long time partnership plugging in to tech. If you don't mind sharing a little bit about your story and how you created calm loans and what does it do to really help on the financing part of the market?
Yeah, great. Hi, Jim. Morning to everybody. Yeah, really excited and sort of following on with the previous group. I think technology has been long awaited in commercial real estate and certainly in commercial real estate lending. We're very excited that we've really transformed and brought commercial lending into the 21st century by creating a database of lenders with the key sizing up variables that are used to size up any loan, and then a search engine which ultimately matches the borrower with the perfect lender. So, traditionally borrowers had limited options. They would go to their favorite lender or from bank to bank and see whether that bank would fit for their particular need, or they'd go to a mortgage broker who had on a manual basis limited access to maybe 10 up to 10 banks that they had a relationship with, and hope that one of those banks would fit. And I guess unlike residential, commercial is extremely diverse. Not only do you have all the different property types, you got retail, industrial, office, multifamily, then you got hospitality, and even hospitality's got all the subcategories, and most property types have subcategories. So for hospitality, you got your full service, limited service, flagged, unflagged. So you got all these different property types, and then you got all the different types of lenders. You've got, your banks, and your banks aren't all created equal. You've got community banks, credit unions, federally chartered banks, state chartered banks. You got the CMBS market. You got Fannie Freddie, which are the agency loans on the multifamily. You got life companies. You got debt funds. You got private money lenders, and every lender's got very specific requirements as to the type of properties they'll lend on, their minimum maximum loan size, respective debt coverage ratios or debt yields, and is it recourse, non-recourse. So needless to say, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack to find the perfect lender on a manual basis that ultimately fits for any particular borrower's needs. So what we've done is really created this database. We have, I'm really excited, probably over 700 lenders on the platform already, representing about 168,000 loan products, which are kept current using algorithms every day. The rates are kept current. The borrowers have the lenders have a portal that they can go in and change their parameters at any time as they come in and out of the market with different products. And then we have a search engine, which we key in the borrower's parameters, exactly what they're looking for. And then the tech matches that borrower with the perfect lender, which ultimately creates an environment that they're using technology, that they're getting the best possible loan that fits their needs and is matched with the best lender. And then we obviously stay in the process and create an environment that ultimately gives them not only better value, better access, but just a far better experience. And I guess just taking a page out of what Jeff Bezos said back in the 90s, when Amazon was in the early stages, technology is great and the internet's great, but it all comes down to the customer experience and obviously in our case, the borrower experience. So we're very focused on ensuring that using tech, we're not only giving them better access and better choices, but obviously a far better experience.
Mitch, thank you for that. And automating the commercial, which we know it's all over the place, with the different product type, the different regions, the different areas. And sometimes you fill the bucket, they say no more, right? We do, our risk parameters too much. We can't take any more. So no matter where your lender is, you need to always have backup on the debt side and automating it, with build out RealNext, the technology, and also the integration of where this comes. But we know right now, and I send referrals to both of you on the capital stack. Some people are telling me, Jim, can you refer us to somebody because our deal fell out, granted with the high interest rates and things that are happening. So Stephen, I would love to have you share, because I know it's automation up to a certain point where it's service. And I know with the capital markets is knowing the product, but you need to really get your arms around your client and the product to see if you can even help them. Stephen?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a full service business. Can you hear me okay? Yeah.
We do.
Okay, great. Yeah, so what we do is we're looking at the deal and we're trying to find the execution, the way the deal gets executed. And a lot of times you'll fall short because of leverage, and first mortgage lenders now are being very conservative is what we're finding. So you may have to solve for 100% of the capital stack, and a lender may be coming in, especially now, 45 to 55% on a first mortgage, and you may only have 10% that you would like to put in. So there's a big gap in capital, and deals are not transacting as quickly or as frequently nowadays because the stack is not figured out. So I like to take a holistic approach as far as looking at the project as a whole, figuring out where the stack needs to come in. Sometimes you could find a partner, and I call one of the things I do is a recapitalization. So if you can't sell a building, for example, because there's a spread difference in spread, you can always recap an existing owner. One partner wants to leave, another one may want to come in. So you can always recap a project. But I am finding that the leverage, especially with the high interest rates, this is a market that interest rates have gone up 200-300% in a very short amount of time. So you are seeing a lower leverage, and you need to solve for a larger percentage of the capital stack, which is difficult in certain cases. So what I do to mitigate those risks is I look for quality of the deals, quality of markets, sponsorship quality. And what you find is that those are the easier deals to execute on. So I do suggest using all the tools that people have been recommending, which particular markets have good sales numbers, or rents, for example, sales comps, rent per square, sales per square foot, and then focus on those markets, those asset classes. Office is a very difficult market. Just to give you a quick rundown of the asset classes. Office is very difficult. Retail has been difficult for many years. Hotel had its challenges during COVID and is now recovered selectively, I would say, in selective markets. But what I do is I focus on multifamily and ground up construction of any type. So it could be mixed use, and a lot of mixed use projects have multifamily, they have ground floor retail, and they have some office components. So that's just a little bit of a broad brush of what's going on in the market, but you can expect much higher interest rates, much lower leverage, and then you're solving for maybe another partner that may have to come in. Maybe you can bring in a property manager that could potentially give you some money for your transaction. If it's a hotel, you can bring in the flag, brings in money. The property managers also give money for hotel deals. So there's a lot of different ways to mix and match your capital stack. And it's not just about finding a first mortgage, because you'll end up falling short on your leverage. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Stephen, no, thank you for that. And Mitch, because this is probably the most important. If you can't finance the deal or do the deal unless you're paying all cash, you're dead in the water. So it is important, and please reach out to everyone on this, because it is good as you automate to look at the debt, but look at the complete stack, like you said, Stephen. And I love that you brought this up and want to open to both of you, because you have to look at a deal holistically, right? The debt, finding the best debt is important, but working with somebody that understands the capital market, repositioning the capital stack. So many people are upside down with their loans coming up. They need to find a partner. And I love that you brought up finding maybe a new tenant, an anchor tenant, adding some more with property management, reducing, right, your DCR, your debt coverage and how you pay it.
Yes, absolutely.
So important. So Mitch, what would you do to advise on the underwriting so you are giving good advice to your clients and not just saying, yeah, we can do it? I hate that. But how do you add value to your client and the tools that you have at Calm Loans? What would you suggest?
So absolutely. I think, we're going through a transitionary period where, interest rates have risen at a faster rate than cap rates are coming down. So you've got this delta between, what, particularly on purchases, I think what sellers are anticipating as far as a sales price, and really what, the loan will support as far as because of, the higher interest rates. So you're getting lower loan to values, as Steve said. So, clearly, I think, if a borrower is holding an existing property and there's a challenge, absolutely. Well, first off, using our technology, we're able to squeeze the best we can squeeze out of the debt. So we most favorable terms. We're able to find the lowest interest rate, which ultimately will give the highest LTV. You know, whether we can come up with an interest only component, which helps also, or whether, you know, it's just a longer amortization, but really can squeeze the maximum LTV based on what the market allows, just by having such a diverse group of lenders. And then really it does come down to analyzing and saying, well, how else can we fit the gap as far as you know, finding more NOI by you know, figuring out the rent roll and seeing if there's opportunities there as far as, you know, adding tenants, you know, are any tenants below market, of being able to increase the rents, looking at the expenses. Are there any expenses that can be eliminated? Because at the end of the day, you know, how can you improve the NOI to generate additional debt in order to meet the respective debt covenants? And once again, it comes back to finding the lenders that are going to have the most lenient debt coverage ratios or global debt coverage ratios. And then once you've exhausted all those opportunities, clearly the next viable option is to counsel with them the ability of bringing in fresh capital and recapitalizing it to fulfill that delta between, you know, in the case of a property they have, and which is coming up for, you know, their notes come due and they have to refinance it, to fill the delta between truly what debt they can raise, even having done all those things of, you know, getting the best possible lender with the most favorable terms, you know, looked at their rent rolls, squeezed the best they can get out of that and their various expenses. Then the next alternative is to, you know, to bring in additional capital to fix, you know, to make up that delta. So, and those are services obviously we provide, and we'll look at it to help guide the borrower at the end of the day. And that's why it really does make sense, particularly in the case of a refinance, is not to leave it to the last minute. You know, if you know you've got a note coming due, don't wait, you know, 60 days before the note's due to start working on this. I mean, this generally should be done at least 6 months before, to allow time to accomplish some of these objectives, to restructure the deal in order to pay the existing note off and create a new capital situation.
Mitch, thank you for sharing it. And yes, get in front of it. Don't wait to the last minute, because you'll be paying penalties, probably legal fees, right? If they don't want to play ball with you. So important. And Stephen, how many people are calling you now talking about, because you're dealing with very large, sophisticated investors, usually over 10 million, probably even $25 million type of deals. How many people now are reaching, as we saw the interest rates started moving up so quick within a 6-month period, and knowing that their loan is coming due, looking at the capital stack? What are you seeing right now with everyone looking for capital, and where is it coming from?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great conversation to have. I would say I'm working on a deal right now where my clients were finishing up a project for 356 units, Class A multifamily, and their construction loans added up to $127 million approximately. And when you go to look and see where you're going to get your loan currently, with the interest rates, you know, it is based on debt service coverage ratio. So the higher the interest rate, the less you're going to have in coverage, but they can only refinance out 100. So they need to find $30 million very quickly to effectuate a refinance, to even get out of the construction loan. If not, you have a maturity default. And that's what's going to be happening a lot of times, is that nobody predicted these problems with the way rates went up, you know, as quickly as they did. So you're going to have maturity default staring people down, and you have to refinance out with a potential equity partner. So I'm looking at like preferred equity and mezzanine partners that are coming in. So if a lender, first mortgage lender, only goes up to 55%, for example, because of the debt service coverage ratio, you could find an equity lender to come in up to your traditional 75%. Let's say maybe you get 80%, but more likely 75%. So that's what I'm seeing, is it's not as simple as just getting a first mortgage. It's equally important, if not more important, to find an equity partner. And one other little tool is that the equity that you're bringing in new is always senior to the old equity meaning that, you know, your equity, the old equity is going to be lost first if there's any type of problems. So you're seeing a lot of refinances, a lot of phone calls, as you said, Jim. People are getting scared what's going to happen, and they should start today. Don't wait till the last minute. Give us a call, you know, with any types of deals that are distressed, or even if they're not distressed. It's always good to look for value add in your property and improvements, additional development rights, et cetera. There's always some juice to squeeze out of the lemon if you need to. But that's essentially one of my examples that I have of clients calling us right now with distress.
Yep. Mitch and Stephen, no, thank you for this. And thank you, Stephen and Mitch, for running the capital markets meetings, because we know we can go more in depth. You know, the good thing is we have referral fees, other ways we can work with each other. Holistically, we need to look at the finance, right? The deck, the capital stack. And it is such an important piece of commercial real estate because it's not cookie cutter, and learning how to put the money together, where the money is going to be, is critical now in these times. And as everyone can see, by creating a property management or asset management working, but also getting receivership business, you know, we are working holistically with the industry. And I just want to thank Mitch, you and Steve for being here. And the next,
Thanks,
you know,
Jim, for having
working
us.
with industry, thank you, working with
Thank
the
you,
industry
guys.
experts. I'll tell you this, I was always involved with all these trade groups. I could have not been where I am today without the friendships, relationships, knowledge, training, education with all of these leaders in the industry, from CCIM, SIR, REAP, and NAR Commercial. And there's so many great trade groups that are part of this. Next slide, please, that we are working with these great leaders. So I'd love to first, David, congratulations. I know Patricia and I, we were all excited to see you in Chicago. So if you don't mind introducing yourself and sharing a little bit about CCIM, and what is the journey kind of now, as there were the COVID presidents, and now you're in the recessionary high interest rate presidents. David.
Hey, Jim, how are you? Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for having me. My name is David Schnitzer. I am the 2023 Global President for the CCIM Institute. It is super exciting to be here. Yes, I am now, I guess, the high interest rate and falling commercial real estate president, but hopefully we'll get out of that very, very soon. The COVID president has unfortunately did not get to do as much as we are, and that's okay. It's just the luck of the draw, but we are back. CCIM is so active and so busy right now promoting our brand, promoting our educational courses, and making certain that not just our own members, which is great, but everybody in this industry can benefit from what we teach. So it is just an absolute pleasure to be here. CCIM has been a great partner with Jim and with eXp for several years now, and we have so many great opportunities for the eXp agents to take our CCIM coursework to learn more about commercial real estate than perhaps they thought that they could or even needed to. And beyond that, we have a whole lot of CCIM designees and a whole lot of candidates from eXp that are working toward their CCIM designation right now. So we're just really happy to be here.
David, thank you for being here and such a great supporter and pushing commercial real estate. If you don't mind putting your information, because we love to drive people, especially now, networking, you know, partnering, learning from each other. It's so important. So if you don't mind sharing your information. And no, Matika, so I remember I was back with Lamont and so many when it was with ICSC, and now I know you're with ULI, but you're really still serving the diverse community, but everyone that wants to learn. And I know, and I want you to promote your event because I know you're taking applications now, and I just am proud that eXp will be supporting the REAP program. Matika?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm really excited. I'm about to hit my 1-year anniversary of being the new executive director of Project REAP, which is a really special year for us. We are entering our 25th year anniversary. And so for those who do not know Project REAP, we are an organization committed to taking diverse talent and giving them the skills as well as positioning them to be competitive and enter the field of commercial real estate. You do not have to have a commercial real estate background to come through Project REAP. We actually take individuals with bachelor's degrees and master's degrees that have the skill set to be in commercial real estate, but just didn't have the exposure for whatever reasons. And we target specifically communities of color. And so we are in our process of opening up applications for our academy. It is the beginning of our program pipeline. So we start with the academy, which is a deep dive into all things commercial real estate. And then once people finish the program, they become alum and we call them reapers. We then cultivate their leadership over time through our advanced learning program, through networking, and then highlighting their thought leadership. A lot of times when we think about diversity, equity, and inclusion, sometimes we miss that there are dynamic, talented individuals that are behind the individuals that we're speaking about when we use the term diversity. So at Project REAP, we take dynamic talent, expose them to the industry of commercial real estate, and make sure that they are seen so they can be hired by companies as well as launch their own businesses in the field. So we're excited. Applications are open now. I'll drop that information in the chat. And if you are a person that's interested in accessing dynamic talent, come to Project REAP. And if you're a person that is interested in going deeper in the field, there's a place for you in Project REAP as well. Thank you for having me.
Anika, thank you. So, and I can firsthand, what we used to teach in our offices and in Santa Monica, in LA, it was just great to be there. And it's the network, the great leaders, instructors, and also the opportunities that you've opened up. I know, and we could talk about that, the internships and the opportunities you guys created at Project REAP. So thank you. And Johnny Nude, I know Johnny from NAR Commercial. You have to encompass many of these groups all under one. So can you share what you've been up to? And boy, you've had a very busy ride for these last couple of years.
Yeah. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak with this awesome group up here. A lot of people know the National Association of Realtors and think of us when they think of residential, but what they don't know is that NAR Commercial is the largest trade group for commercial practitioners as well. So we have over 165,000 members that are out there practicing commercial real estate. And we are part of a bigger group of our affiliates, which encompass CCIM, SAOR, and a couple other ones, Realtor Land Institute. So depending on what asset class that you're looking to work within, we have educational opportunities and partnerships with these different organizations that can help further your education. Additionally, in addition to all the member benefits that you get of being part of NAR, as far as discounts, health insurance, and stuff like that, the commercial members actually have a larger suite of things available to them, like Realtor Property RPR, Realtor Property Resource, which has over 1.2 million commercial listings, lots of different ways to market, get information on whatever project you're working on. So we have a ton of resources here at NAR, and I'm happy to be here to share with you and your team those resources.
Johnny, thank you. And can you tell where C5 will be? Are we doing C5 this year, and where will it be, just as a quick shout out for that?
Yeah, so hot off the presses, we just signed to be in Atlanta on September the 28th through the 30th. It'll be our third annual C5 Summit, bringing together all sectors of the commercial real estate pipeline. It's a great place to network, to make deals, and to get education on commercial real estate.
I love that. Hot off the presses. We're here to help everyone kind of share all the great things everyone's doing in the commercial industry. I know Patricia's waiting to get in. Oh,
I'm
Patricia's in.
I'm
Patricia.
in. I had a heck of a time. My apologies.
No problem. You're here. And Patricia, I love seeing you at David's inaugural event. I still have to send you over the Illuminatis. So everyone knows, if you want to make Patricia get her a good side, get her a Lou's pepperoni and sausage pizza. But Patricia, thank you for being here. And
Thank you for having me. Apologies for being late. It was not intentional. I just had technology challenges. So thank you.
No, thank you. And thank you for giving us this time. But please share with right now, you're kind of really into your SIOR global leadership running around. So, can you share with everyone the SIOR kind of pin and background of SIOR, since I know it's some really great leaders, and I know they are, well, with some good things and bad things, right? The industrial is killing it, and then the challenges with office. So you get the best of both worlds.
Thank you. I will indeed. So we have 3,600 members around the country, around the world, in 42 countries. 1,958 of those are industrial brokers, the balance being either office or a dual designation with both industrial and office. We're very proud of the fact that we have a 97% retention rate in our membership. We have just came off of a very successful conference in Dallas. And we are looking forward to our conference in April in Montreal. So SIOR, for those of you who don't really know it, it's a Society of Industrial and Office Realtors. It's really made up of top producing agents around the country, the world, that have met certain educational criteria, certain production criteria. We're all about ethics and quality of service and working together to drive business for our clients.
Patricia, thank you. And I'm looking forward at your Montreal event. It's a great organization, like with all the different trade groups. So I'd like to now pose the question, what's going on? Because with these rates that are increasing, how are you, David, leading the CCIM through this time? And what are you doing for the whole with CCIM as everyone's looking to guidance and leadership and direction as the market is changing?
Yeah, it's a great question. So not only have we instituted some specific micro courses on this topic through our Ward Center for Commercial Real Estate Studies, which is absolutely phenomenal, but also we have brought out our chief economist to our different members in our regions and our chapters to discuss this. We have consistent CCIM webinars about this to let people know kind of what's going on and what's happening around the country and around the world, even with the commercial real estate situation. I can tell you personally, myself, I am not worried about it. I am, a couple of weeks ago, on a personal note, I put a contract in on a property. We'll close here in a few weeks on it. And I am not worried about it at all, because when the rates go down in a little bit, and they will, we'll just refinance it. So this is a temporary blip as far as we're concerned. But the most that people can do during this, and the most good that people can do during this situation, is number one, education. Get the education on it so that you know what you're talking about for not only yourself, but for your clients. And two, make certain that your network is absolutely solid so that you can continue to churn these deals, to create more deals, and to have these relationships, which is what our business is all about. Nope, you're on mute.
Sorry. So Monique, also you can see as the market is changing, we are trying to get and educate as many people into commercial real estate. Have you seen an increase of people trying to plug in and educate? And how are you helping, with the diversity, but also plugging in as many people in the partnerships? And how can we help you plug into more corporations and trade groups?
Yeah, Project Reap is interesting because we have these two different tracks. We have the track where it's more corporate real estate, and then you have an entrepreneurial track. And so I really appreciated David's words. I too am in a very similar situation where my husband and I, outside of Project Reap, we have our own development company. So we too are in the process of closing, and I'm right there with you. When those interest rates go down, refinance. And so really, it's really about ensuring that we are providing good information to our alumni network, which are individuals that, you know, have not traditionally been in these spaces. They have grown their careers and, you know, they're in C-suites all across the country. However, we have a diverse pipeline, and as they then get more comfortable, particularly our entrepreneurs, as well as those individuals working for development companies, making sure that we leverage our network to provide that information so they are making good decisions as it relates to where the market is going when it comes to real estate deals that they are directly responsible for, as well as their own personal investments. So really being able to leverage our network. We have organizations like Colliers International, Marcus and Millichap that comes in and they're committed to giving real-time market trend presentations to our alum to ensure that they are able to make key decisions that's going to set them up for success moving forward. So it's really about accessing information and making sure that our network has it based on the dynamic network that support Project REAP.
Monica, thank you. And Patricia, how are you leading now with the change in the market? Granted, you've seen these before, but now what are you doing with the SIORs?
Sure. I think everyone throughout the country, if you're in the industrial industry, the markets are still really good. Supply chain logistics is critical to the success of our country, frankly. That's how commerce works. The biggest challenge we have is in the office, and we're still trying to figure out, you know, what does that look like for corporations? I'm seeing a lot of corporations reduce their square footage because they don't need all the space that they have today. And I think that's probably going to be a continued trend as they deal with the workplace and work from home environment.
Thank you, Patricia. And Johnny, since you are part of the largest, you know, real estate trade organization, but also commercial trade organization, and many of us here are overlapping with NAR commercial, how are you seeing, you know, helping with the realty part with commercial? And I know that's always been a challenge. How are we trying to collaborate, work as one big real estate industry, especially on an emphasis with commercial?
Well, you know, it's interesting because it all plays well together, right? What's happening in the residential market affects what's happening in the commercial market. It's all interrelated. As part of, you know, one of the largest advocacy organizations in the U.S., we're working with members of Congress and the Senate to make sure that we are protecting property rights, to make sure that we are giving pathways to affordable homeownership, but also pathways to investment in communities. So we work at the state and local and national level on development incentives, on make sure we're streamlining the permitting processes, make sure that we're not getting unfair legislation that's not conducive to development. So I think, you know, from an advocacy perspective, we're constantly out there fighting to make sure that property rights and opportunities are out there for developers. So that's what we're doing on the advocacy side. I echo David's sentiment. We're also always looking at educational opportunities and really informing our members on what's going on in the market. If you take a look at our website, we've got a ton of different reports that are updated on a monthly basis to see what's going on, both at the macro and micro level, so you can help inform your clients what's going on. So.
Thank you, Johnny. And now to how can people plug in? Because we know right now in the market, you need to network, you need to educate, you need to really plug in ways that maybe we didn't do as much before because things were maybe a little easier. So David, how can people plug in to CCI, and what would you advise as the first steps to be involved?
Yeah, so I appreciate that. Obviously, ccim.com, and look at the educational courses that are offered. The great thing about CCIM is we have 56 chapters across the United States and another 5 across other parts of the world. And each of those chapters have the opportunity for scholarships for CCIM courses. And in addition to each of those local chapters having scholarships, the CCIM Institute also has a great minority and diversity scholarship, not just scholarship programs, but also education discounts and an educational discount program used in conjunction that could be amazing for somebody to get their CCIM coursework, or at least part of it, free or pretty close to it. So getting involved in that way, go to ccim.com and look it up. You can send me an email, you can send me a LinkedIn message or an Instagram message, and I can get you hooked up to the appropriate company, or the appropriate person rather.
Thank you, David. And I want to give a shout out to the chapters, as I started in LA with your local chapter, with the local chapter in LA. So, it was tremendous even before I started taking, and I'll just tell people, correspondence was hard for me. I had to actually show up to take all those tests. And hopefully, David, I will be taking it soon enough to take the course and the test to plug in. But I would say I love that in the chapter level, there are also sometimes the chapters put scholarships too. So even though things may be expensive, look at the diversity scholarships and other things to plug in. And Patricia, same to you. How can we plug into SIOR? As I know, the bar is pretty high, with all the friends that we have at SIOR. So how can people out there learn and take their steps to plug in to SIOR?
Sure. Well, one of the best things that we've done is we have a very robust member associate program. And you can really plug into SIOR. You have, within 10 years, a period of time that you can plug in. You can start your first year. If you can meet the criteria of 1/2 of what our gross income requirement is for that chapter, then you can qualify to be an associate member. You can attend our conferences, you can attend meetings. You can really get very engaged. We've had great success this last year building our membership. And what's really exciting is not only do we have members in both office and industrial, but we have a lot of new members as member associates. And we had one young man out of Washington, D.C. that was committed to become a full SIOR member prior to turning 30. And I'm happy to report that he did, in fact, achieve that goal at the age of 29. So good for him. The other thing I wanted to say was I really think that the CCIM courses are absolutely phenomenal. And if you have not taken them, shame on you, you should, because truly they are the best overall education to get into our business. And I find that to be a criteria. Anybody that comes to our firm or anybody that wants to work with me, they better start out by really getting fully engaged with CCIM.
Thank you, Patricia. And I love the collaboration, right? Where we're all family. We always say we wear different jerseys, right? But we all jump around. We all need to network, and we know the good people and the bad people through just being in the business so long.
Well, that and Patricia's contractually obligated to say that. So thank you.
Well, I think we've made some great strides in the last year with maybe the last 2 or 3 years with the commercial affiliates. We meet once a year, then we get together at the NAR conference and we meet again. We've got, Johnny's been so supportive of us and your whole team. So I think we're really all singing out of the same hymnal, which is great.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, Patricia, because I totally echo that statement. I logged into this call a little earlier, and I was listening to the capital markets folks, and they were, saying a bunch of different acronyms. I was thinking, gosh, if I was just getting started in commercial real estate, I have no idea what these acronyms are. So if you want to learn more in detail about what all of this means and how it's all connected, you've got to get the education, and that definitely starts with CCIM and groups like it.
Well, Johnny, you're a good pathway into, bringing all those that want to learn, like with the REAP program. So how are you involving people where you have very strong commercial senior brokers and trade groups, part of the NAR commercial NAR umbrella? How are you, bringing new blood, and that's the thing, right, into the commercial real estate world?
Yeah, actually, we've got 2 programs with NAR. We have the SPIRE program, which connects industry leaders with upcoming talent, and I'll follow them through a year, basically as a mentorship program. That's been a really great success. I think we've had about 150 or so commercial practitioners that have gone through that program. We are also, expanding all of our educational opportunities at a state and local level. Offering different networking opportunities for them. I've seen a huge influx of things happening at the local level. So you have to get involved. As I mentioned, a lot of times, folks are coming into the commercial realm from the residential space, and our state and local associations are always there to help them make those connections, help them get involved, connect them with their local CCIM groups so they can get the proper education before getting out there and making deals. But yeah, it all starts with networking and starts getting involved at the state and local level.
Well, talk about that, Monica. Now you have a bunch of other connections, not like you haven't before, but with SIOR, CCIM, NAR Commercial, these are the top. They're the bosses right here. So, the presidents of each organization. So, Monica, because it's evolved from the ICSC days now to the ULI days, how are you strengthening these partnerships, and how can we help you really get more young people, more women, and underserved more involved, and how can we help?
Yeah, well, want to fully acknowledge that your support over the years has been transformative to Project REAP, and CCIM is also a supporter of Project REAP as well. So I just want to fully acknowledge that. It's really about bringing together the entire industry to recognize that we have talented people of color. It's just networks that separate us from each other, right? And I think that is what's really key about Project REAP. And so, starting out with all of the trade associations at some point, really supported us through our journey. But for our 25th anniversary, we're really looking to go deeper. We have a research project that we have been really hard at work surveying our alum, and we're really excited that we are going to release that data for our 25th anniversary coming up really soon. And why is that important? A lot of times we do these programs, right? And we have no clue what the impacts are. And I'm really excited. I can't share the results yet. I have some of them, but it is really promising what happens when organizations that are sometimes competitors come together for one mission, and that is to open opportunities for individuals that have traditionally been locked out of an industry. So I'm excited about that. We are currently accepting applications for our REAP Academy. The deadline is January 31st. As I said earlier, you do not have to be in commercial real estate, but you do have to have a bachelor's or a master's degree or higher to be able to participate. We believe that opening up opportunities is really about opening up networks, because the talent is there. We just have to be intentional as an industry to have these conversations, create opportunities, and put people in spaces so they can show their dynamic talent that is in them, so we can see it visibly.
Well, Monica, thank you. And I know this group will be reaching out, and I'll connect everyone to see how we can help as one big family, one big team. And Patricia, what would be your advice for anyone in the industry, during this time? What advice would you give?
Well, I'll tell you what, I would make sure that you're educated about what the requirements are to get in as a member associate into the SIOR program. And I would say start now, make a commitment to get engaged, because it makes all the difference in the world. This is a great organization of networking that drives a lot of business to each other. It's a fun place to be. We learn a lot. We've got great speakers at our meetings. It's just a really good environment. So I would say reach out to Kelly Miller, who is our head of member experience, vice president of member experience in DC. She can help you by giving you the information that you need. You can also look on our website, SIOR.com, to see what the criteria is to get in. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to me either by email or call me. I'm happy to help in any way I can.
Patricia, thank you. David, also, what's your advice?
Yeah, same. Figure out what organization works for you at that time. Different organizations work for different people during different times of their life and their career. And SIOR is amazing from an industrial and office standpoint. CCIM is great for everybody else and for the education. We're all members of NAR. As not only organizational affiliates, but Realtor members as well in some cases. So any of these organizations can just enhance what you are doing through eXp or through a different organization. We have a lot of dual designees. We have a lot of people that are that have a lot of letters behind their name. And every time that you get yourself in an educational situation, you are better for it.
Thank you, David. And Johnny, since he kind of called you out with the umbrella, so what is the umbrella doing? And can you share, because I saw something with the Land Institute, can you share what's under the umbrella? Because it's so big, sometimes I lose track of what's actually under the NAR commercial kind of banner.
Yeah, so on the commercial side, obviously CCIM and SAOR are affiliates. We also have the Realtor Land Institute, which focuses on, everything starts with the land. So it's actually the thing that connects every single asset class. We also have property management, which will obviously we have to manage these buildings and all of that kind of stuff. So and then we have CRE, the counselors of real estate. So those are specialists that are from anywhere from finance to architecture to deal makers that deal with big complex issues. And that's actually an invite only organization. I think that they have about 200 members. By the way, the management one is IREM. I'm sorry, I forgot to plug their name, the Institute of Real Estate Management. So we've got 5 affiliate organizations that encompass a company, probably about 40,000 members are a member of those affiliate organizations. So no matter what your specialty is, we have something with our affiliates. I wanted to add to the last question that you had. What you can do is start now. You just by being here, you've gotten it started. The networking and education piece acts like compound interest over time. So keep doing it, keep consistent, and over time, your network and your education will lead you to success. I love that little increments over time really make a big difference. So.
Johnny, thank you so much. And we're looking at bigger collaboration, especially we all know the public-private partnership when it comes to land and advocacy that we all fought so hard with the 1031 exchange and many other issues. And California, we have our whole host of others. So, there's a lot of different things. Manika, final words, how can we plug in? How can we help? How can this group of dynamic leaders and people listening help Project REAP and also really open up for everyone that wants to learn about commercial real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity to be here and be in conversation with such dynamic leaders. First, I would like to say that a lot of times when we think about diversifying the field of commercial real estate, oftentimes we start at the very beginning of the pipeline, right? And there's this assumption that you have to train up individuals. I would recommend that people just give themselves permission to have a paradigm shift, right? And that's where Project REAP comes into play. There's definitely, room for the beginning of the pipeline, but we take really dynamic, highly trained professionals that just simply don't have exposure to the industry, give them the tools that they need so they can then launch their career. That's different from coaching someone in undergrad, right? So, I would encourage the industry to really tap into that part of the market, because when you look at research, you see that the higher you climb in the industry, you see that diversity piece kind of tail off. So supporting institutions like Project REAP is so important. Of course, we always look for sponsorship. The way in which we're able to do this work is through partnering with the industry and supporting us to be able to execute on our program framework. Of course, visit our website, www.projectreap.org. And if you know an individual that is looking for opportunities, an individual of color, consider recommending them to apply for the program. Applications are open now. All the information is on our website so they can see maybe this is the time for me to reimagine my future. COVID made all of us reimagine our futures, if we can be honest about that. So this program is really designed for those, individuals that have the skill set, that are really dynamic and just looking for a little opportunity to open up a door that will launch their career. So consider sponsoring Project REAP and consider recommending people to apply to the program, because we have some really great results results that I can't wait to share with the industry as it relates to how we've been able to impact the industry over the past 25 years. So stay tuned, more information to come.
David, Patricia, Monica, Johnny, thank you so much for being here, sharing your great organization, your leadership over decades, I have to say, with everyone. And we look forward to collaborating in the future and however we can help as one big family in the real estate and our community. So thank you again. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Be
Thank
well.
you.
Bye-bye.
Next, I'd like to introduce back Lindy McNeese. Lindy, if you don't mind introducing one of our longtime sponsors.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jim, for having me back in. This has been such a great morning of commercial, of just a wealth of information and knowledge that we get from all of these experts that have come in today. So I do want to introduce O'Connor Tax Reduction Experts. This is O'Connor and Associates. They are also one of our preferred partners here at eXp Commercial. We've got Elvis Gabriel with us today. He's the client agent liaison. I learned so much from them regarding cost segregation. You know, there's so many different things that this company can do and can take care of. So, you know, if you will, please welcome Elvis. And Elvis, if you'll tell us a little bit about O'Connor and Associates.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share information regarding O'Connor and Associates this morning. Give me just 1 second. I do have a presentation. I'd like to share my screen if that's possible.
I think right now we're going to, I think Angela's going to give you access to do that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Sure. Click on share screen down at the bottom and see if you have access.
Yes, I do. Thank you so
There we
much.
go.
Okay.
You bet. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. In our process, we do handle both residential and commercial properties. And again, as stated, we handle tax segregation, cost segregation as well. In our residential and commercial appeal process, we pursue every viable legal avenue to reduce property taxes. This includes informal hearings, appraisal review board hearings, binding arbitration, as well as litigation. There are no flat fees, upfront costs, or other fees. Our clients only pay when we reduce their property taxes guaranteed. We take the fight to the county appraisal district every year, whether the value is up, down, or does not change. And O'Connor and Associates represents owners at around 200 Texas counties and nationally as well. Specifically right now in residential, we are working in Texas, Georgia, and Illinois. We are expanding to other states and counties outside of that. But in our commercial appeals, we do handle appeals in 46 different states, and we're continuing to grow. So we do expect that to expand throughout the 2023 year. These are some examples of some of the businesses that we can help. We do have restaurants, hotels, automobile dealerships, businesses, gyms, gas stations. We do have, again, commercial, residential, and then we also have a hotel group as well that specifically focuses on hotels, again, throughout the United States. There are some values and benefits of protesting your property taxes. Initially, one of the most important rights as a taxpayer is your right to protest your property tax value. Property taxes do exceed federal income taxes for about half homeowners in the United States. Property taxes for homes or rental properties can be negotiated, unlike federal income taxes. The protest process is an arbitrary process, and tax assessors for the county or city typically generate a guesstimate of market value, specifically in the residential market. By protesting property taxes, a more accurate value for properties can be attained. Additionally, it's your money. You can spend your money better than the government. There is no cost to protest, and you can protest every year regardless of whether the appraisal district has raised, lowered, or did not change the value of your home or commercial property. There are several different methods of value arguments. There is a market value protest and also an equal appraisal when it comes to residential. For commercial, there are some additional value arguments. There is going to be income and some other cost value arguments as well. For residential, there are homestead exemptions that can be added to a property owner's property, and with that homestead exemption, that allows a property owner to remove a part of the home's value from taxation, which does result in paying lower taxes. There are certain requirements for homestead exemptions. You must own your home. It must be a primary residence. It must be an individual homeowner, not a corporation or business entity. The owner did not claim any other property for homestead exemption for the same tax year. And homeowners who qualify for general residence homestead exemptions may also be eligible for additional exemptions depending on the location. There are some things that we use to achieve maximum results. Things like date stamped photographs of properties always help. Receipts or estimates for any repairs. Sales price documentation such as listings, closing statements, and other information, and property surveys, which are a general questionnaire provided to property owners annually to disclose any property condition or additional facts related to the value of the property. And lastly, deed records. They do help within the appeals that we file on behalf of our residential and commercial property owners. That is going to wrap up the actual presentation portion. If there are any additional questions or any additional information, I am open to any questions or any further clarification on anything that's been presented today.
Sure. Thanks for coming in, Elvis. And if anybody has any, or if you want to give your email address or phone number right now while you're here,
definitely I can provide that information.
Elvis, and thank you with O'Connor's Associates partnering, and more to come, because we are looking to scale past more leads and referrals, especially with your consulting part. I love everything that you're doing. So yes, please share your information. And next, we'd love to go into with Scott Cook. Scott is the other organization with IREM. He was a past president for San Diego. So Scott, take it away.
All right, thank you very much. Good to see everybody again. Well, as you know from my last little bit, I'm a big promoter of the Institute of Real Estate Management and the certifications and the education, along with all the other great organizations that have been highlighted today. So I'm honored to be able to introduce Nicholas Stellatis, who's going to speak about the Institute of Real Estate Management's Certified Sustainability Property Certification. I got that out. I had to practice that a few times. So Nicholas, thank you so much for joining us. If you'll just give everybody a little bit of all the great information about you and then launch right into the program, that would be awesome.
Well, great, Scott. Thank you so much. And welcome, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to present on behalf of IREM. I, too, am a past president of the New York chapter of IREM and currently serve as its treasurer. So very deeply involved with the organization. Certainly, it's a wonderful group of people. Most importantly, we're talking about networking. That's one of the strengths that IREM brings to the table, in addition to its education and advocacy for our industry. It's really one of the best organizations out there, and we're very fortunate to have it as a resource. Again, thank you for the opportunity to introduce our CSP program, Certified Sustainable Properties Program. IREM, as may have been mentioned, was started almost 90 years ago. Actually, I think it's our 90th anniversary this year, when industry leaders felt that the industry required an organization to help coordinate and direct the professionals in the industry, creating ethical standards that IREM promotes very heavily. And our recent effort here in terms of sustainable practices, of course, is the creation of the Certified Sustainable Property designation for properties. This is many people may be familiar with LEED certification. It's been around for a longer period of time. Not every property can achieve a LEED certification because they're very, very strict standards. The IREM Certified Sustainable Property designation, however, is really intended to promote our individual efforts at the property level to illustrate and demonstrate our stewardship of the environment. If we can go to the next slide. Thank you. It's all about that commitment to sustainability. Not all of our properties are going to be the top performers, but that doesn't mean that we individually can't make a contribution to reducing our carbon footprint. And the effort that IREM has put into allow building owners and managers to be able to demonstrate that commitment is part of what the CSP program is all about. Advance to the next slide. It covers virtually every property type. Again, we see the office through retail. Every property contributes in some respect to our carbon emissions. And the effort to reduce those carbon emissions is really a driving motivation in the sustainable field. I've been promoting the sustainable practices really my entire career. One of the early lessons I took from IREM when I went through for my certification as a CPM was to operate properties efficiently, to utilize best practices. The sustainability space essentially is an embodiment of all of those principles and practices. Operate your property better to be the most efficient possible. So we are now providing a more formal and tangible platform for individual properties and property managers to be able to demonstrate how well they're doing in that respect. Can you advance the slide? There are a number of different performance categories that the CSP program looks at. Obviously, energy, that is the big stone in the jar, and represents the bulk of our carbon emissions at a property level. What the CSP program looks for is an owner or manager that is benchmarking its energy consumption, is establishing management policies, energy management policies that are looking to increase the overall efficiency, if you would, of the operating systems, of mechanical systems, of the entire environment within the building. Also important is water conservation. Again, benchmarking our consumption, trying to reduce the waste of water. We certainly are seeing many parts of our country undergoing droughts and experiencing limitations and rising costs in terms of the water. So creating a water management policy, checking for leaks and reducing our consumption overall is an important part of the CSP program. On the other side, we have the health of the occupants and the visitors to the building. So we are looking for properties that are engaging in review of their indoor air quality and understanding how the building may affect the health and well-being of its occupants. And we move into areas like recycling, being able to have a recycling program, being able to divert our waste product from landfill and either recycling it or diverting it to perhaps waste to energy plants, trying to reduce the impact that our waste stream has on the environment. And at the end, we have the purchasing policies. We can implement more sustainable purchasing policies by requiring less packaging, perhaps. These are all types of activities that we can engage in at the property level that will help us reduce our environmental impact. Go to the next slide, please. Now, the CSP program started in 2015. We are steadily seeing more and more buildings come on board to seek out and obtain their CSP rating. And again, this is not something that only the top performers can achieve. We are looking for properties that are going to be making that commitment to enhance and improve on their existing condition, the incremental benefit that we can perceive. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. We're not going to get there right away, and we really need to be continuing our forward progress in this initiative. I'll point out the 2022, we don't have 93 total, we have 1,293. I guess the digits got cut off on the slide for some reason. But it's really encouraging how many more properties are coming on board, are looking to, again, as I said before, demonstrate their commitment, their efforts to become more sustainable in their operations. Can you advance to the next slide? Now, there are a number of prerequisites that the CSB program looks for. The three of them are on the screen here as far as being stabilized property that is, in operations. We want smoke-free buildings because smoking within the building is certainly the antithesis of indoor air quality. We also look for the buildings to be at least 25,000 square feet and certainly in compliance with all of the environmental laws. And there are many, many communities in the country that have enacted or are considering enacting legislation or regulations that look to limit carbon emissions. Here in New York, we have our local law 97, which is going to give our industry, many headaches because I don't see all of our buildings moving forward in an effective fashion to address the requirements. I think we're going to have a lot of owners that are going to be surprised at the number of penalties that they have to pay for because they have not engaged in implementing sustainable practices. And we also look for the property seeking the CSP to respond to an annual survey, again, providing updates. This is a continuous process. This is not a one-shot deal. I'm doing something and then I move on. We can advance the slide, please. All right. Now, from a practice, these are some approaches that I've been promoting. And again, Scott mentioned my background. In 2007, I was asked by senior management at TIAA, where I was a regional asset manager, to create TIAA's sustainability platform. We were always a socially responsible organization, but we were not promoting an organized sustainability platform. And I had gotten TIAA to join Energy Star as a partner back in 2002. So we had started our benchmarking program, but it was very rudimentary. I was asked in 2007 to create the Global Real Estate Sustainability Initiative, which was a comprehensive platform across all of our properties. So we benchmarked every single one of our assets and started tracking our performance and understanding where and how we could improve our operations. And first and foremost was the no-cost and low-cost opportunities, the operational improvements to reduce the lighting overnight and over weekends. Many of us see buildings in our cities that are lit up in the middle of the night, and there's nobody in the building. That's a waste of energy. Through those no-cost operational improvements, we were able to reduce our energy consumption by 15%. Right off the bat, no capital being spent, millions of dollars in energy savings were being realized. We started looking at programs that offered short-term paybacks, a year or 2 years, lighting retrofits. Back in 07, 08, there were still many incandescent bulbs and fluorescents that, early fluorescents that were in our buildings that were, very high wattage bulbs. So we were able to replace those, saving energy, reducing our overall consumption, and basically getting a payback in a very short period of time. And that is a process that a lot of our management people really are not thinking about. And part of what I appreciate this opportunity is to encourage our managers and our owners to promote these types of activities. It's available to everybody, and it doesn't cost you anything to work smarter. Once you've gotten your properties as efficient as you can get them, now it's time to start looking at the high performance investments. These are the capital investments, replacing a chiller, undergoing a major retrofit. Perhaps your the glazing, putting double pane glass or insulated glass where you have single panes, perhaps. We had an example of that in Denver. Single pane windows in Denver in the wintertime are horrible heat sinks. You're losing all of your energy, heating the outside world. So those projects do require a payback. It's all about NOI when you're an investor. We talk about the triple bottom line: people, planet, and profit. That profit is an essential element in our sustainable practices, because without it, our programs are not sustainable economically, and it has to work across the board. Finally, we also have the question of renewables. It's great if you can implement them, and I find a lot of our suburban properties can benefit from renewables because they've got the land area, perhaps a parking lot or a parking structure that they can put renewables on. A lot of our CBD projects, it doesn't make sense unless you sign up for solar production, getting the RECs, the renewable energy certificates, which essentially is you're buying renewable energy and offsetting the carbon emissions of the utilities that you are actually using. So the basis to all of this is benchmarking, because you can't manage that which you don't measure. So you have to know what it is that you're doing, how well you're doing, so that you can be able to plan your forward steps. If we can go to the next slide. The CSB program offers a number of these types of recommendations and best practices that one can employ. They are there as part of the program, and it is an essential part of what the CSP is all about. How can we help our industry do a better job? And early on in the first slide, we saw the Energy Star logo. IREM is an Energy Star Partner of the Year at the Sustained Excellence level, representing ongoing and continuing efforts to bring enhancements to operating practices, to encourage sustainable practices, reducing our carbon emissions, and making our environment a little bit better than it had been before. Now, there's additional information on the website. You can hit the advance button. All right. The irem.org Go Green would offer you much more information and hopefully get everybody started who is not already on board with the CSP program to take advantage of it. Next slide, please. All right. Now, what are our goals in the sustainability program? If one has a corporate ESG platform, sustainability, the first element of ESG is the environment. So sustainable practices are critical to a corporate ESG initiative. And do we all have one? Not necessarily, but we are all going there. It is something that is much in the news. Personally, I take offense at certain elements that are looking to, I'll call it politicize ESG. It's all about best practices. And that's, I think, what we at IREM and in the management space have to keep in mind. This is about best practices. Next tab. If you have a corporate responsibility, the corporate social responsibility, CSR programs, the environmental piece is a major component. At TIAA, I was able to provide the tangible metrics that proved our ability to enhance our energy efficiency, the reduction in carbon emissions. We were able to deliver provable numbers to be able to rely on, so that our CSR initiatives were based on actual performance and results from our wholly owned real estate. If, as managers, providing a sustainability platform for owners, we're adding value for them. Anytime we can reduce our expenses, especially if we use no-cost, low-cost operating improvements, where we're adding dollars to the bottom line, very important for our owners. We're reducing our energy consumption. We are reducing the amount of water consumption, and by extension, the amount of carbon that we are emitting. Energy, of course, the utilities, whether it's on-site or off-site, major carbon emitters. Water has a carbon emissions component as well. A lot of people don't realize that. We should also be setting up waste and recycling targets. We need to divert a portion of our waste stream. If we can remove it from coming into the property, that's even better, because we then don't have to get rid of it. Packaging is a big issue. When you get quart bottles of cleaners, that's not helping you. Get the large, dehydrated version, just add water. You're reducing the amount of garbage that's coming in that has to then go back out. The certifications is important because we are now evidencing to the outside world that we are making a commitment, that we've made a commitment, and we're making progress. So the value of certifications is as much external as it is internal, because it gives us individually pride that we've achieved a certain threshold to earn a certification. Much like the CSR before, having stakeholders who are happy with our performance, who are understanding that we are in fact engaging in best practices, that we are promoting effective energy and environmentally sensitive activities is a good thing. We have compliance with regulations. I mentioned before the number of municipalities. I believe the number is now over 35, 36 municipalities that have these legislations. Without our ability to benchmark and improve our performance, we're going to run afoul of those regulations. So it is a risk mitigation strategy for, on top of everything else. And then finally, especially on the residential side, I believe Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac both offer discounts on the financing that they offer to residences that have a certification, that have proven their efforts to reduce their energy consumption, their carbon emissions. And I believe there are some private lenders that are also offering this, and that changes, that landscape changes from time to time, so I'm not going to mention any names. But it's important from an ownership standpoint. If I can reduce my cost of financing because of my sustainability program, I'm ahead of the game. Next slide. We have always to think about the return on investment. It's a key part of where we're coming from. And as managers, we know that we have to have that bottom line. And okay, thanks, Scott. And then finally, if going to the website, irem.org, go green, or sustainability@irem.org, will provide you additional information. If there are any questions, I'm always happy to respond. Again, I personally have been a major champion for Energy Star, for sustainable practices, because in our industry, as a CPM, as a certified property manager, I'm not doing my job unless I feel that I've done the best I can possibly do. So thank you again for the opportunity to make this presentation and to offer some information on IREM's CSB program. And if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to try and field them.
Nick, thank you so much. How can we plug in, and do we need other higher certifications to take it? So you don't have to be IREM, right? How could you take your course? Because I'm actually very interested in learning too.
Sure. The CSP program is open to anybody. So one doesn't have to be a member of IREM. Ideally, one will see all of the offerings that IREM has to offer and would continue and become part of it. But again, the CSP program is intended to provide our industry a platform that they can demonstrate their sustainable initiatives without putting the pressure that they have to achieve some high threshold in order to achieve a certification such as LEED certification, which is a very good certification program, but it expects top performers to earn that certification. And not every building can get to that point. James, the Energy Star label, only the top quartile will get an Energy Star label. So does that mean that the other 75% of the buildings shouldn't do anything? Quite honestly, no. Everyone has the opportunity. And some of those lower performers, simple changes, simple improvements will actually yield even larger benefits than the same incremental performance improvement for a top performer will generate from a revenue standpoint. So it's especially critical for the low performers to get on board to be able to maximize the amount of returns that they can create for their properties by being more sustainable.
Nick, thank you for sharing. And we know we'll have you back because with green, I remember from before there was a green course, then there was a lead course, all these, but we know we're pushing towards renewable, recyclable, and with so many technology improvements like solar, wind, everything is getting so upgraded to be more efficient, and having those sensors everywhere, right? We're talking about smart buildings. I'm really excited to get you back because I know property management is so important in our industry. Not always the sexiest, as we all know, but so critical that how technology is really changing it. And it's not the old school way of doing it. But thank you for your leadership too. And I know with Scott, yourself, and many from IREM, we're going to get back because under CAR, NAR commercial, right? We're all one big family together. So Nick, thank you for making that presentation with us today.
James, my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you. Next, Lindy, you want to say something?
No, I'm so excited about this, and I'm so excited about what we're about to talk about. So I took a deep breath because I'm so ready for this.
Excellent.
So
Well,
exciting.
thank you for being part of so many conversations. So next, I would like to introduce Ellen Sue, who is our VP of Brokerage Operation in Canada, a long dear friend. And we should put some of those alphabet soup behind Ellen's name, because I know, Ellen, you're like a CCIM, you are, I forgot so many other credentials up in Canada, but a leader across the world, really. So Ellen, if you don't mind sharing a little bit about what we were working on over the holidays.
Yes, so Jim, we have some exciting news to share with the audience. It has taken us really several months, including the Christmas holiday, for the team, really your team and everybody, to put together a great commercial tool package that eXp Realty Canada has been requesting. So we have been talking about it for quite some time. So I can't wait to share with all of you what we have prepared for all the Canadian agents in Canada.
Next slide.
So coming in February, we are bringing the top of the line commercial tools to eXp Realty Canada agents by partnering up with Altus Data Studio and RealNext. What we have also put together, eXp Commercial Learning Center, and also group coaching from top commercial agent trainers. So, to receive all these top of line commercial tools, the annual retail value for these tools are worth over $100,000. But because of James, and because of Leo, and because of Mike, and all the leaders in eXp Realty, we were able to get the price down to $4,000 for all the agents that are part of the eXp Realty Canada. So if you prepay $4,000 upfront, you get a whole year of these services. So we want to provide a more sweetened deal for our agents. So we put a package together. So next slide, please. For the first 100 agents that signed up with us, they will receive access to Altus Data Studio and RealNext. Second, free access to eXp Commercial Learning Center, including more than 100 education videos from the industry-leading advisors, which is a $350 Canadian value offered by eXp, but the retail value for that is much higher, which I'll talk about in the next slides. And of course, the first 100 agents who sign up will get a group coaching from James Wan, Mercedes Wan, and myself, and other top commercial trainers for the first 3 months. Starting February 2023. So this package is, the value of this package, if you go out there, It's going to cost way more money than what you're spending with the $4,000. Next slide.
It's there.
Next, yeah, okay. So you asked, so what happens after the first 100 people signed up? Well, the first 200 people signed up will also provide you with the access to the Altus Data Studio and RealNext, and also free access to eXp Commercial Learning Center. The only thing that won't be included for the agents who signed up from 101 to 200 is that there won't be any group coaching. So those of you who are interested, please sign up early. And after the 200 agents, what's going to happen is the agent will have to pay $350 to receive the educational contents. Next slide, please. So you might ask, what's included in eXp Commercial Learning Center? What you'll get is actually education from top commercial instructor, overview of the CRE, property types, characteristic, and transaction opportunity, cold calling, sales, and presentation. Of course, like I mentioned, over 100 videos and workbooks and slides that's available to all the agents. So you're asking, how do I sign up right now? So we have a QR code ready for all of you. Please, next slide, please. Please take out your phone and scan the QR code and sign up today. Because like I said, the first 100 agents will get group coaching with all the benefit of commercial tool and also group coaching. And then also the agents the first 200 agents will also get the education for free from our commercial education center. This is very exciting. This is the tools that all of us has been talking about for many, many months, and we are putting this together. This is the first time ever we're offering to all the Canadian agents in Canada. Thank you so much, Jim.
Ellen, thank you so much for your leadership and eXp Canada and being with the patients. This is the first launch before Ellen shares this with the Canadian stand-up group, I think this Thursday. So, you know, it is the way that we're trying to do a group coaching to see the successfulness, to really help agents that are new in the business, that wants to accelerate their business. It's a quick start, you know, answering all the questions of what would we have done differently if we would have entered this field, opening up our connections and relationships. As you can see, you know, being around, and Ellen's a leader with CCIM. She's gonna, you know, she was our past international chair many years ago, but now she's our foundation chair of CCIM. So there's so many, Mercedes Wong, CRE president, CCIM. I mean, she has so many credentials, other top-notch leaders from all product type specialists and service, capital markets. So it is, you don't want to miss this, because we are going to get you in an organized manner as a fast start, taking the training corresponding courses, plugging in with the technology tools, and really getting our coaching, mentoring advice for free for the first 100 to make sure you're successful in your commercial real estate endeavor. So we are excited to launch this in Canada and really start growing it slowly, you know, with our team. So Ellen, thank you so much. And we can't wait sharing it at your stand-up on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Next slide, please. And now, you know, I'm glad that everyone stayed on this long for the training and to learn everything about, but we are going to have our kickoff for the new year with Glenn Sanford, our CEO founder of eXp, and all of the things that he built with our company as an agent-centric company, really flipping the model on its head. And I'll tell you, by flipping the realty market on its head, he definitely flipped the commercial on its head, because there's nothing else like that. So you do not want to miss our fireside chat with our CEO founder of eXp, you know, a publicly traded company. You don't want to miss this. So again, everyone, thank you for your time, for listening. We are going to share this and send out a survey to everyone. Please like and follow us on LinkedIn, because there's going to be more events. We are doing live events in all major MSA areas. So you're going to see the virtual events, the live events, the team building, collaborating with many different trade association or organizations, so we can all help each other get through this hard market. And really, you know, as Glenn and many people said, if you can give back, if you can help others, you're going to help yourself. You're going to get what you want. So again, thank you, everyone. Happy New Year. And we look forward to sharing more information with